A day of draws in the World Cup yesterday. Spain and Cabo Verde drew 0-0. Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay drew 1-1. And Iran and New Zealand tied 2-2. Today, France takes on Senegal at 3 o'clock. Iraq plays Norway at 6. And Argentina plays Algeria at 9 o'clock. This Friday, the U.S. men's national team, they take on Australia at 3 o'clock. Looking around the NFL, ESPN's Pete Thamel reports former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby has been the subject of numerous legal battles within the NCAA ranks amidst a betting scandal this offseason. The Denver Post's Luca Evans reports R.J. Harvey underwent surgery this offseason to repair a torn labrum he suffered in the AFC Championship game loss to the Patriots. In the Athletics' John Makta reports George Pickens has arrived to take his physical before Cowboys minicamp. In the Athletics' Zach Jackson reports that Browns tight end Harold Fannin, dealing with an undisclosed injury, did not participate in spring practices at all this season. In baseball, the Mets got shut out by the Reds 12-0 yesterday. Tonight, the Blue Jays, they play the Red Sox at 6:45, and the Yankees, they host the White Sox at 7:05. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Hey, everybody. What's up, Joe?
What's up?
Owen? Joe Cali?
Good morning.
How we doing?
We're all right. How you guys doing?
Good.
Good.
Bunch of draws.
Solid.
Yes.
Draws.
Draws.
It's tie Tuesday, although it was yesterday. Yeah, a lot of draws.
We should have all were ties today. That would have been funny.
I wonder if anybody would have noticed.
4 ties for 4 games.
Yeah, 4 ties. These guys are wearing ties today.
Yeah. No referencing it until the. This would have been a good idea until somebody notices.
Yeah.
What we were doing.
Should we talk about ties? How does everybody feel about ties? I mean,
Bow tie guys, regular ties.
Yeah, but I've done bow ties before, but no, I'm regular tie more often.
Same. I did the bow tie. I'm a big guy. Bow tie looks very small. It's very small on me.
That probably makes sense.
Yeah.
Big head, big body.
Is the taller you are, the better for the bow tie, or worse?
I think it's worse. I think it makes you look more like a circus act than anything.
Yeah, but if you're really short with the bow tie,
then you also look
then
like
you've got the Ken Rosenthal thing going, and it looks like it could be as long as a normal tie.
No,
I
then
have
you
no
look
idea.
like I think the shorter you are, it feels like you're gonna spin the bow tie, and then it's gonna
Helicopter.
something. Yeah.
You're gonna fly away.
I think I've worn a bow tie once in my life, and that would have been to a prom or something. Maybe if that would have been part of it. I also had, here's one. There's skinny ties. I knew how to tie a tie a certain way until I was about 25 or 30. Then I learned a different way to tie a knot. It's a bigger knot. And now I have no idea how the first way, I could never do it again.
I think I'm on the first way.
Me too.
I got a small knot.
Me too.
Is your brain only capable of one kind of knot? My guess is
Yeah. I think that's probably
It purges the other.
And you can also only do it on yourself. Like if you have to tie a tie for somebody, you're like, hold on. You put it on, you tie it, take it off, and give it to them.
Yes,
you can't
exactly.
tie a tie on someone else.
Exactly.
Or you get the awkward reach behind.
Yeah, hold on. Let me
man.
do it. Let me do it like right.
I don't even know what I think it's a bigger knot that I'm using. So I might be doing it the same way you're doing
I
it.
haven't tied a tie in a long time because even like, whatever. If you're going to a wedding, you're doing that kind of thing. I feel like I'm going to weddings now or going to events that normally you would wear a tie, and I'm not wearing one. I'm much more often just going, suit jacket, button down, and you don't need one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's much more rare. Even on television, if we're doing stuff that's on TV or anything, like the frequency of tie wearing per year is way down.
Yeah, that's in right now, I think.
Yeah?
I think the last 2 weddings I've been to, I also went
Just
no
didn't
tie.
wear a tie?
Yeah.
I don't think I had it either.
More and more I'm seeing that. So,
When's the last time I wore a tie? Not to say it's never happening.
it's unfortunate for all the ties in my closet if that's going to be
Collection,
a
yeah.
trend here
Yeah.
going forward, because I've got weddings coming up in the next 2 years. I don't think those guys are getting dusted off.
I
They're staying in
spent
there.
this weekend cleaning out my closet and found a box that had ties I hadn't worn in 3-4 years. Like, oh yeah, I have all these that I just do not ever wear.
I used to wear, suits going into games when I was playing junior, and ties used to be my thing. Like I used to love having a good, cool tie, and I can't tell you
And
when
now,
the last time I pulled those out of my
if
suit.
You could just wear them. Just wear them every day.
But now fashion for sports figures walking into games, you could dress like, you're in a Western.
Yeah.
I mean, you wear whatever you want.
Check out Mikhail Sergachev's walking.
Right. You could wear burlap. And it's like, oh, wow, look, Owen Parker making a statement tonight. He's ready. He's wearing burlap. So, what about the other kind of ties? Hockey, of course. How long have you guys been watching? Different ages here. How many ties in hockey do you remember seeing?
Vaguely remember some. I know for a fact, I don't know that I remember being there, but I have the ticket from the first, I think it was the first Sabre game I ever went to when I was like 5, and that was a 1-1 tie against the Rangers. So I've been to one.
Yeah.
I know that, and I barely remember it.
So 5-year-old goes to game, score is 1-1. You don't really care. I mean, you got an ice cream cone or some cotton candy. I had 5-year-olds.
It's a great night.
What do they care about? Where's the ice?
Did I see Sabretooth is
right.
more important.
Where's the ice cream? Oh, and Joe, would you guys have never actually seen an NHL tie?
I don't think so. I don't recall.
I don't remember any ties specifically. I remember when the shootout popped up. I remember talking about that with my dad.
Yeah, that's 05. Like
Yeah.
after the 04-05 lockout. So you guys were born what year?
02.
02.
Okay, so yeah, you do not really have any memory of the NHL actually finishing games in ties.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No. I remember the shootout. I remember seeing the first one and be like, whoa. But I don't remember what it was like before that when the game would just end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have I got nothing on that.
Every once in a while, whenever we're discussing the scoring system, like the 3-2-1 scoring system, by the way, good morning, Jeremy and Joe, and we're talking ties because in the World Cup yesterday, there were 4 ties.
Yes.
And in soccer, the point system for scoring, ties are not worth half a win. It's 1/3 of a win. You can't just, have 2 overtime losses that count as ties. Like now I'm getting, too complicated here. But every once in a while when we talk scoring format or standings, someone will write in, just bring back ties. And doesn't that feel less likely than almost everything else we suggest? You can lay out the most ridiculous scoring system, standings system about how to award the points. And I feel like the NHL is more likely to adopt those than they are to adopt ties coming back. I think you've got a chance of the NHL actually going to the 3-2-1 system before they would ever bring ties back.
I agree with that.
Right?
Totally agree.
100%.
They like a winner. They have to have a winner, I think.
I've always felt that that's the right approach. That people go to these regular season games, they want to walk out having seen a win or a loss. Did they win or not? A tie, there's 2 parts of it. There's the tie, and then there's that overtime had gotten really boring. And nothing happened, and you weren't getting your exciting 5 minutes, and you want teams to play without worrying about losing points. Otherwise, you get to a 1-1 game that's in the second minute of overtime at KeyBank Center, and if I give up a goal, I lose a point. Nobody plays to win. Nobody tries. It's let's protect the point we've already got rather than lose it. And I don't know that should change. I think that, not to say ties are terrible, but I don't want them coming back because I think it actually would in the NHL specifically, take away from my experience as a fan?
I think they work better in soccer than they do in hockey because you have a wider gap in talent, right? Like, not even just the World Cup. Like, yesterday, you do have one team, Cape Verde. Everything they're doing is basically to try to draw that game at the end because you have a giant gap in the talent level. In the Premier League, same thing. Like,
Right. A tie is a win for them.
Leeds United draws against Arsenal, and that's a win for them because of who they are and because of the gap. That gap does not exist in the NHL, right? So you can't really play the sport, or you would never have a game where one team knows they're so inferior that everything they're doing is just to get the tie because they don't think they can actually really realistically win the hockey game. Like, every team is good enough in the NHL where they could win the hockey game. So I think because of that, it works better in soccer because it does feel like, even though you do have a draw, it does feel like you have a winner a lot of the times. Not all the time, but like yesterday, there were 4 ties, but Cape Verde won yesterday.
Right.
Like, them tying Spain is a win for them. It might be the greatest thing that's ever happened to them in sports. So you don't get that in the NHL. I think it wouldn't be.
And to your point about the gap, that's kind of what can make a tie exciting because as you're watching that game, you know, like you say, like Cape Verde or Cabo Verde. I saw them referred to as Cabo Verde. Anyway, that if you're Spain, a tie is a colossally bad result.
It's embarrassing.
So you are pressing to try to win the game like you're losing.
Right.
And in that, you're not witnessing 2 teams that are satisfied for a tie. I've always pushed back on the NHL idea because you have no idea how boring these teams would get with 7 minutes left in regulation if you could still lose a point and you could lose it in overtime. It would be shut down city. In the chat,
do you remember that being what happened, like, before the lockout?
yes.
That's what it was going on at the end of third period.
I can remember a tie. I remember the most random tie ever. I remember the Sabres tied a game against Nashville in maybe 2004 where Chris Gratton scored late. And that's a time where if you tied a game late, you felt like, oh, that's a good tie.
Yeah.
Whereas if you gave up that goal late, oh, that's a bad tie. Same as, how it works in the NHL where you score late or give up a goal late. Gratton had a deflection on a puck and it went in like, oh, okay, it was a tie. Good. Nice work. But I don't want it ever coming back. If it were to come back, I think you could get there. I think you could get there where this would be your 3-2-1 system where you still play overtime, and if somebody wins in overtime, they get a point, and you still have your overtime loser point. But if no one scores, call it a tie and don't go to a shootout. That's, to me...
Yeah, that would force teams to go for it.
You'd have nothing to lose. You'd have
Right.
absolutely nothing to lose. You wouldn't play for the shootout. It's, hey, there's 5 minutes here. We're playing for the bonus point.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, each team still gets one.
Right.
To me, the number one mission throughout this entire discussion, whenever we're talking about the NHL's version of this, is I've got to make sure at the end of the game I have a good product. And that means no one is protecting the 1-1 score or 4-4, whatever the score ends up being at that time. So I think you could still do a 3-2-1 scoring system and have overtime winners and also still ties. You just
But
wouldn't.
it would just have to come at the end of overtime, not at the end of regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of overtime, and you would just say the shootout doesn't need to stay.
Right.
And
I might be okay with that.
I think I would too.
I don't need the shootout anymore.
I don't need
Like,
the shootout either.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it can be exciting, but it just always... Well, I liked it when I was a kid, but now it just feels so gimmicky to me. And the important games being decided on that, I don't think we ever have really run into that because this year was the Sabres' first important season in a long time, and they didn't really have an important shootout. They had a shootout right at the end of the year, right against Dallas when they had everything clinched. But I don't remember. Did they have one late in the year, actually? Was there one? Tuck scored a winner, didn't he? Or was that the Dallas one that I'm thinking of? Okay, no, they had one shootout win against Seattle late March. So for the division, that one might have been important. But I'm good with eliminating the shootout if you want to throw ties in. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday was 4 ties in the World Cup, and I felt like it was a great day of World Cup soccer. Like, most of those games were entertaining.
Big time drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nobody won yesterday. Not a single team won a game yesterday, and I felt like it went really well. I don't know if most American fans feel like, because don't most American fans want a winner? That's why they have the system set up that they do. Don't fans not like that there are ties in football?
Yes, that's right, too.
I don't think football fans like that there are ties.
But the NFL doesn't have a
They don't have enough of them that they're out there trying to solve it all the time.
No, that's right. I was going to say, the NFL doesn't have a system where they force a tie to not be a tie. Like the NHL and Major League Baseball, for that matter, and the NBA, a tie is impossible. You cannot have one. Football, American football, is the one sport where, in fact, the last time they made a change to overtime, they made them more likely. They took 5 minutes out of overtime.
Did, yeah.
There's less time, which means, if there's one team that holds possession the whole way, then they miss a field goal. The other team misses a field goal. You get a tie. Mm-hmm. NFL ties by season. Are they on the climb?
I'm looking right now. It's like 1 per year.
Yeah.
Which, that was a little bit. Yeah. No, it's actually about the same.
Okay.
Actually, he's gone down from 6% to 5.9%. Before that, though, 74 to 2011, it was 3.4% were ties. So 70s into the 2000s, I guess they were doing better with it. But it still barely happens, like once per year. Last year, there was only one.
Yeah,
Packers Cowboys tied 40 to 40.
That might be a function of how easy it is. I don't say easy, but how offensive football is rewarded. There's a million variables in terms of why ties would be happening or not happening.
The clock thing is right, though. Like, that's how I'm reading about last year's tie. That's how that happened. The Cowboys kicked a field goal with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah.
Like, they ate up half the time, and then the Packers got the ball, and it took them the whole time, and they kicked a field goal as time expired for the tie.
Right. So nobody actually punted. It was just everybody ran out of time.
Right. It was 5-minute field goal, 5-minute field goal.
Yeah. Imagine if in the NBA they decided overtime was going to last 1 minute. And then, and if you're still tied at that point, it's a tie. Because that is what the NFL does. Like, it is, once we run out of time in this period, we're going to keep it there.
Yeah, it's almost like you get one possession each.
Yeah. 8030550, Twitter poll up. Should the NHL ever think about bringing back ties? Why not? You can vote on that. Right now, 77% say no. I'd imagine no wins. Mike writes in, only if they change the point system, and while we're at it, home whites and the playoff format. Hockey, we've got our just give us what we want list, right? Playoff format, home whites, scoring system, whatever. And
playoff format would be my number one for sure.
I wonder if they'll do some of these things that everybody wants, the scoring system when Bettman steps aside. But ties, 4 ties yesterday. I saw that the Cabo Verde goaltender has now more Instagram followers than Jalen Brunson. He's got 3 million. He had
50,000 I saw before the game.
Yes, now he has 3 million. So the country has how many people, Cabo Verde? And what was the fun fact we learned yesterday from you?
There were 2 about that because you guys didn't like the first one.
The third highest population of sea turtles.
Yeah, top 3 sea turtle country in the world.
And was the other thing?
They have a town inside an active volcano.
Oh.
Like inside the crater of an active volcano. Those were the 2. They do not have many people. I think their population is under 1 million. 529,000 people.
All right.
More was looking through the fun facts, the pick one, which by the way we'll do again today because I have today's countries.
I thought of a name for the game.
Yeah,
the World Cup of Joe.
What
do you think?
It's pretty good.
All right,
it's pretty good.
A morning game about the World Cup put on by you.
Yeah, they have more people living abroad than they do in the country.
What is that?
Was one of the facts.
What is that?
I don't know. That's what it said. Large communities in Rhode Island.
Yeah, it's not too far from. We just went to we took vacation this year in Madeira, and it's not too far from Madeira. It's one of these islands out in the middle of the ocean that's off the coast of Africa, which is what Madeira is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is that next for you?
Cabo Verde.
Cabo Verde.
Yes, we'll go and we'll celebrate the team, I suppose.
That has become the World Cup for me. It's just the game is on, and no matter who, depending on who's playing, but almost every country just at some point during the game, I feel like we should go there at some point.
Yeah.
Like Morocco. Like that looks cool. We should go to Morocco. Not every country, of course, you would pick for that. Cabo Verde would be on the list, though.
Yeah. Portuguese Cabo Verde is what it's called. I guess the Portuguese had a lot of conquests to islands, but it's its own country.
Mm-hmm.
Who plays today?
Today, you have some of the...
Still waiting on some of the blue bloods here.
You have some of the big guys today. You have Mbappe, Messi, and Holland all playing today.
That's pretty good.
So France, Senegal is at 3. Iraq and Norway is at 6. That's Holland for Norway. Argentina, Algeria is at 9 p.m. And then if you want to stay up till midnight, you get Austria and Jordan.
Yeah.
But those first 3 are the big ones.
Well, in the next 2 days then, these are the last 2 of the opening round of games.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you mentioned it. Like those teams, France, Norway, and then tomorrow, Portugal and England and Ghana all play. 5 games tomorrow. From I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. You're right.
Well,
Austria, Jordan is midnight tonight.
The midnight game is like really tonight.
So it's 4 each. That's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, 803-0550. We'll talk with Paul Hamilton coming up at 7 o'clock today. Get his thoughts on Sabres off season as we continue to count down towards the Alex Tuch deadline. We're getting to about 2 weeks away. 2 weeks from tomorrow is July 1st. So we'll dip into that. We'll do juicy rumors again today. Get Paul's thoughts on Alex Tuch, whether or not he will ultimately go to free agency. Also, on the goaltending conversation, we had a lot of chatter about it yesterday about what they should do in goal and, if there's a big move to come or how Jarmo Kekalainen is going to tackle that. So Paul joins us coming up at 7 o'clock this morning.
Everything I read about Hellebuck is just that it feels likely that he will get traded.
Yeah. And Florida will be the destination.
My question would be to them, because is Yzerman playing enough hardball, or is he being strong enough with Larkin that he's maybe admitting to, all right, we'll move you, but you got to give me more than 3 teams, or this is going to be a problem. And the list seems to be growing every single day with Larkin.
Yeah.
And if Hellebuck, there was a Florida Hockey Now report, if Hellebuck just wants Florida, then you're going to need the Winnipeg GM to be the same type of strong, which is you're going to have to give me more than one destination, and we can have a couple of teams bid, or else you're just going to be here, because I'm not just doing one team that doesn't have a lot to offer me.
Yeah.
You're going to need that if you want to get in the ballgame on Hellebuck, because it feels like everything I see is that, he wants Florida. If he's going to want to leave at all, which it feels like a lot of people think he does.
You're just going to be here. How long can that last? 2 months? That never actually lasts, right? Guys that want a trade.
Yzerman did do it with Druin once, but that's not as high profile a player.
And then he ultimately did get traded?
But a year and a half later, after he did end up returning to the team.
Yeah.
The times it happens in sports, it's not many. Kobe once demanded a trade from the Lakers, and they did not trade him, and he ended up finishing his career there.
Right. I always reference Deebo Samuel wanted a trade from the Niners and did not get one.
Brandon Ayuk asked for a trade from the Niners how many times?
Yeah, and they
10 times. He still hasn't had it.
That might have been before he signed too.
Right. So it occasionally happens. You're right. Most times
guys do get moved.
The guy gets traded.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you think these two will get traded at this point? That's kind of how I feel that it sounds about the two.
I think Larkin definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah.
And which one of the two is more likely for the Sabres to land if both were open to coming here? Who would you take? Who would Jarmo want? Hellebuck?
I don't know.
Who's tighter with Tage? Which Team USA teammate of Tage Thompson?
Not having a single rumor about them connected to anybody kind of leaves you in the dark on what they are prioritizing.
Yeah.
What would they prefer? Star goalie or number 1 center? Not just star goalie, the goalie in the league that you could acquire. I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what Kekalainen thinks of Luukkonen. That's really the starting point, right? If he believes in him as a number 1, despite the playoffs, then he probably thinks, what do I need Hellebuck for? And Larkin you would want no matter what if you're a team, I think. You can plug him in to even a very strong forward group, and he'll make you better. So, Like, I think there would definitely be some level of wanting Larkin, whereas Hellebuck, I feel like it could be he either loves the idea or he just would have zero interest in it at all. I don't think anybody could have zero interest in Larkin if he was on your list.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah. 803-0550. We'll dig into juicy rumors. There's a new team linked to Alex Tuck. We'll get you that one in a moment. Juicy rumors today. Paul Hamilton, 7 o'clock. Our World Cup of Joe.
The World Cup of Joe.
Joe's game that he puts together where he learned fun facts about these countries and, make friends along the way. All that good stuff. 803-0550, 1-888-550-2550 on the new team linked to Alex Tuck when we return here on WGR. I can remember a tie. I remember the most random tie ever. I remember the Sabres tied a game against Nashville in maybe 2004 where Chris Gratton scored late. And that's a time where if you tied a game late, you felt like, oh, that's a good tie.
Yeah.
Whereas if you gave up that goal late, oh, that's a bad tie. Same as, how it works in the NHL where you score late or give up a goal late. Gratton had a deflection on a puck and it went in like, oh, okay, it was a tie. Good. Nice work. But I don't want it ever coming back. If it were to come back, I think you could get there. I think you could get there where this would be your 3-2-1 system where you still play overtime, and if somebody wins in overtime, they get a point, and you still have your overtime loser point. But if no one scores, call it a tie and don't go to a shootout. That's, to me...
Yeah, that would force teams to go for it.
You'd have nothing to lose. You'd
Right.
have absolutely nothing to lose. You wouldn't play for the shootout. It's, hey, there's 5 minutes here. We're playing for the bonus point.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, each team still gets one.
Right.
To me, the number one mission throughout this entire discussion, whenever we're talking about the NHL's version of this, is I've got to make sure at the end of the game I have a good product. And that means no one is protecting the 1-1 score or 4-4, whatever the score ends up being at that time. So I think you could still do a 3-2-1 scoring system and have overtime winners and also still ties. You just
But
wouldn't.
it would just have to come at the end of overtime, not at the end of regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of overtime, and you would just say the shootout doesn't need to stay.
Right.
And
I might be okay with that.
I think I would too.
I don't need the shootout anymore.
I don't need
Like,
the shootout either.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it can be exciting, but it just always... Well, I liked it when I was a kid, but now it just feels so gimmicky to me. And wouldn't you think these two will get traded at this point? Like, that's kind of how I feel that it sounds about the two.
I think Larkin definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah.
And which one of the two is more likely for the Sabres to land if both were open to coming here? Like, who would you take? Who would Yarmo want? Hellebuck?
I don't know.
Who's tighter with
not-
Tage? Which Team USA teammate of Tage Thompson?
Not having a single rumor about them connected to anybody kind of leaves you in the dark on what they are prioritizing.
Yeah.
What would they prefer? Star goalie or number one center? Not just star goalie, like the goalie in the league that you could acquire. I don't know. Like, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what Kekalainen thinks of Luukkonen. That's really the starting point, right? Like, if he believes in him as a number one, despite the playoffs, then he probably thinks, what do I need Hellebuck for? And Larkin you would want no matter what if you're a team, I think. Like, you can plug him in to even a very strong forward group, and he'll make you better. So, like, I think there would definitely be some level of wanting Larkin. Whereas Hellebuck, I feel like it could be he either loves the idea or he just would have zero interest in it at all. I don't think anybody could have zero interest in Larkin if he was on your list.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah.
A day of draws in the World Cup yesterday. Spain and Cabo Verde drew 0-0. Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay drew 1-1, and Iran and New Zealand tied 2-2. Today, France takes on Senegal at 3 o'clock. Iraq plays Norway at 6, and Argentina plays Algeria at 9 o'clock. This Friday, the U.S. men's national team takes on Australia at 3. Looking around the NFL, ESPN's Pete Thamel reports former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby has been the subject of numerous legal battles within the NCAA ranks amidst a betting scandal this offseason. The Denver Post's Luca Evans reports R.J. Harvey went underway surgery this offseason to repair a torn labrum he suffered in the AFC Championship game loss to the Patriots. In the Athletics' John Makota reports George Pickens has arrived to take his physical before Cowboys minicamp. In baseball, the Blue Jays play the Red Sox at 6:45, and the Yankees, they host the White Sox at 7:05. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Welcome from the Belgian faithful. Now what can they produce? This time Lukaku only just on and has the magic touch. Romelu Lukaku.
Romelu Lukaku goes on, and there's an own goal right away.
He came on, I immediately went, he's still playing?
Yeah, he's been around for a while.
And then immediately, it looked like he had scored
When
immediately.
I remember him last, was it Chelsea or Everton? He were blue.
I remember him
Chelsea.
blue.
I think it's Chelsea. Maybe it's Everton?
I remember him at Everton.
Okay, then it's Everton.
He might have done both.
Maybe. Anyway.
He did play both.
Okay.
Everton was 2013 to 17, and then Chelsea was 21 to 24.
Okay, there you go.
You like the color blue.
That's a lot of blue.
Yeah, he just wanted to stay there.
Good morning, everybody. Jeremy and Joe, 803-0550 is our phone number. So Chicago Hockey Now links Alex Tuck to the Chicago Blackhawks as an idea for them. That in free agency, they might want a couple of free agent forwards. They have the space to do it. And what could Chicago be looking for? Chicago Hockey Now says Tuck.
Okay. when I hear about a Chicago, or I think Seattle is pretty much the same thing here, I want to bet those are the teams that Tuck and Tuck's agent would be using to get more money out of the Sabres, more than their... Would it take a lot for him to go to one of those teams that are at the bottom of the standings after he just spent a long time at the bottom of the standings?
Well,
finally dug out, and he just wants to sign up for the team that was in 31st place last year in the NHL?
Ask yourself, if you've just seen a team end a 15-year drought and make it, you might think that it's not as unattainable as it might have felt for all of us for 14 years. Chicago, when's the last time they were in the playoffs? Probably a little bit ago.
It's been
some years, but
I think since Kane and Taves were there.
Yeah, there's the age-old question, like, all right, well, what do I want to do here? Do I want to make the playoffs at $9 million a year, or will I just play hockey and try to get a team to the playoffs for 12, if 12 is the number, or if 11.5 is the number? I mean, yeah, Chicago had 72 points last year, finished, second worst in the West, ahead of only Vancouver. Actually, second worst in the league. So you're going to the bottom.
Right, and Seattle wasn't much higher than that. Like, they were a bottom 10 team as well, and that's the other team that's been rumored a lot. If I see a team that is good, that is mentioned here, and there was Darren Dreger the one who mentioned Toronto as an idea. They were not good last year, but he mentioned Toronto for them. I think someone mentioned Tampa along the way. Like, one of those teams comes calling and says, we'll give you $10 million a year. Like, all right, well, that I'd be truly worried about if I want to keep him. And I guess I'm just a little skeptical that you're right. If he felt like they got Bedard and they're on the right path, they add me, like, we could get there. But I think it would have to come with a giant price tag if you're going to get that guy to sign up for a team again where you're hoping that you can kind of break a drought, which is what Chicago would have.
How confident would he be that this team is just going to be back and competing for a Stanley Cup? How many teams would you feel better about that for?
Probably a couple,
but better. Just that.
Yeah.
I mean, we point out a couple times last couple weeks, Mike Greer left after 05-06 and questioned commitment to winning, right? It was a great team, and it was commitment to winning. He questioned their commitment to winning. And
he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
A year later, he was
right. He was right to do that. And I don't know that Alex Tuch's about to do that with this team, but, there's a million variables. And let's talk about that from a Sabres fan perspective. How confident are you that what we just saw wasn't, and I'm going to use a phrase here that someone in the chat on YouTube used yesterday, a good 5 months, and instead of that was really, okay, no, this is the culmination of what Kevin Adams was building. It's going to be good here. And if Tuch wanted to stay and Jarmo wanted him here, then he would feel good about his chances to win. Versus if Florida calls or Tampa calls.
Or Colorado.
Would you instantly feel like, wow, I mean, come on, it's Colorado. Come on, it's Tampa. Come on, it's Florida. They're more likely to stay in the mix, even though Florida just had a down year. Florida calls Alex Tuch, like, hey, we'd like to have you on board.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of those teams, I think you just mentioned most of them that would fit. Like maybe Dallas would as well. But and maybe why you're not hearing many of them mentioned is I don't know that they have the ability to give him the contract that is they might be in the same place that the Sabres are. Like, hey, we'd be interested, and we might be able to figure out a way to give you like a $9.5 million a year contract. But if you want to go up towards like $11 million, like that's not going to be us. It probably would have to be one of those teams that are closer to the bottom. I'm looking right now, like, who has the most cap space in the league going into next year? Because there are a lot of teams with a lot of cap space. And could you find a team that fits both, that could pay him the big money and would be at least the same as the Sabres, if not more, in terms of Stanley Cup contention? Like, would Pittsburgh be that for him? Go play with Crosby and Malkin, but that's near the end. What are you signing up for 6 years after they're gone? And beyond that, Toronto, as I mentioned, like San Jose would be a team maybe you would believe, like, hey, they got close last year, and they're really looking to turn it around and be aggressive, and they have $63 million, or excuse me, they have 63 in cap committed. They have $41 million in cap space. All right, they want to get better. They were close. They've got an all-world number one center that was on the top line for Team Canada already, like, sold. You'll give me $11 million a year? I'll do that. Like, there could be a couple of teams that fit that. Maybe San Jose would be that, but I don't think I've seen them mentioned for him yet.
Yeah. 803-0550 and 1-888-550-2550.
Just don't know about the teams that are, like, right at the bottom. And that would be Chicago. Chicago is right at the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, they were the second worst team in hockey a year ago.
I mean, the number of times the teams go from very close to the bottom to the playoffs within like 2 to 3 years, it's not unusual. Of course, it did not happen for the Sabres, but it's not unusual. I used to have the number at the top of my head when we're in the thick of the drought, and I would point out that it's not finishing last that's the problem.
I remember Colorado, I think, went from like the worst regular season almost ever. It was like 48
They had
points.
48 points.
Did they make the playoffs the next year, or was it 2 years?
I mean, a lot of teams within 2 years do. New Jersey did. Toronto did. Happened somewhat routinely that you can turn a season around in a couple of years. Anyway, 803-0550. It's U.S. Open week.
They did. They went from 48 points to 95 points and made the playoffs.
1 year.
In 1 year.
Now, it's probably just an artificially bad 48-point year because the year before that, I don't think they were that bad.
82.
Yeah. Montreal had one of those oopsie bad years, got Slafkovsky, and 2 years later, they're in the playoffs and looking fine.
Yep, that's right.
So it happens. U.S. Open is this week at Shinnecock.
I saw Jordan Spieth hit a fan in practice yesterday.
You're getting the it's going to be carnage, and you're getting shots of pucks rolling off the greens. Balls rolling off the greens. That would be a slippery green if a puck would slide right off.
That would be, yeah.
Yeah,
I would assume it would be ice.
Very slippery.
At that point.
Very slick. Yeah. So it's open week, which is, of course, hand in hand with Father's Day.
How much carnage are we expecting? Like, are we talking winning score in the pluses?
Maybe. I want to say I remember the Shinnecock U.S. Open however many years ago, 2004, I don't know what years it is hosted. I can look that up. There was a year where it got really bad, and I guess it happens all the time. Players complaining, and they're shooting water into the green, and they're syringing the greens because they're too bad.
2018, it was at Shinnecock.
Before that, how far back? 2000.
Kepka, by the way, won at +1. I think that is the last time a plus score won.
What's 2009? How far back you got to go?
Shinnecock, where is 2004?
Okay, yeah, I had it. 2004.
Retief Goosen.
What was the score?
-4.
Oh, all right. Well, they must have syringed the greens.
Made it easier. But it was +1 the last time they were there, and that is the last time that a winning score was in the pluses. So that looks, by the history of like the courses, it looks like it's the most or one of the most difficult.
Yeah.
Not Greg Norman. He finished second. 95, the winning score there was even. So
the last three winners are a combined what? -4, +1, and even.
Yeah.
All right.
What can I bet on DeChambeau complaining about the course this week? I mean, that's got to be -5,000, right? That he's going to complain about the how hard it is, or just something at the course. You do have a lot of golfers complaining about courses now when they are made that difficult. Like the last couple of U.S. Opens, like unplayable. Who went on the rant? Maybe it was one of the live guys. Maybe it was Kepka. I don't remember. But somebody went on a rant about it recently. I like those tournaments.
Where guys are having trouble?
I love it. Yeah, right. Like, they look like me out there.
I don't think that, well.
Duffing chips out of like the rough that I'm sure is 50 times thicker than the rough that I'm hitting out of. But like, you will see that, where a guy will hit a ball out of a rough and it'll go 5 feet forward and not make it to the green.
I feel like people say...
Once a year. Just once a year. I don't need that every week. I just want to see that once a year.
People say they end up looking like me. They don't look anything like you. They miss the
well,
fairway.
the ball goes to the same place.
They miss the fairway by 2 feet, and they're in 6 inches of grass. You don't miss the fairway by 2 feet. You and I miss the fairway by like 50 yards.
Okay,
and
sure. Yes.
They have a putt roll off the green as one of the best players on earth because it's physically impossible to stop the ball, whereas you and I would just 3-putt from 9 feet.
Fair.
Like, to me, these tournaments always look like you are trying to make the toughest challenge possible, and that's fine, but I don't think they end up looking like the average golfer. I think that they get mad.
Well, they get mad because they have some shots that
should be good.
They result in like the same shot I would hit, even though it's nothing that they did.
Because shot making in some of these situations is ultimately impossible.
Right.
But that's part of the game. Like, hey, we made it so you can't make perfect shots. You've got to play, station to station, understand where your misses are, where things are okay. Mm-hmm. So anyway, Father's Day is Sunday. Final round of the U.S. Open always lines up with that, and that'll be this weekend. We'll talk with Brian Koziel probably on Thursday, get a full preview of Tee to Green and of Shinnecock. 803-0550, 1-888-550-2550 to join us. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR.
And wouldn't you think these two will get traded at this point? Like, that's kind of how I feel that it sounds about the two.
I think Larkin definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah.
And which one of the two is more likely for the Sabres
Jeremy,
to
what
land
here for?
if both were open to coming here? Like, who would you take? Who would Yarmo want? Hellebuck?
I don't know.
Who's tighter with Tage? Which Team USA teammate of Tage Thompson?
Not having a single rumor about them connected to anybody kind of leaves you in the dark on what they are prioritizing.
Yeah.
What would they prefer? Star goalie or number one center? Not just star goalie, like the goalie in the league that you could acquire. I don't know. Like, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what Kekalainen thinks of Luukkonen. That's really the starting point, right? Like, if he believes in him as a number one, despite the playoffs, then he probably thinks, what do I need Hellebuck for? And Larkin, you would want no matter what if you're a team, I think. Like, you can plug him in to even a very strong forward group, and he'll make you better. So, like, I think there would definitely be some level of wanting Larkin, whereas Hellebuck, I feel like it could be he either loves the idea or he just would have zero interest in it at all. I don't think anybody could have zero interest in Larkin if he was on your list.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah. I can remember a tie. I remember the most random tie ever. I remember the Sabres tied a game against Nashville in maybe 2004 where Chris Gratton scored late. And that's a time where if you tied a game late, you felt like, oh, that's a good tie.
Yeah.
Whereas if you gave up that goal late, oh, that's a bad tie. Same as, how it works in the NHL where you score late or give up a goal late. Gratton had a deflection on a puck and it went in like, oh, okay, it was a tie. Good. Nice work. But I don't want it ever coming back. If it were to come back, I think you could get there. I think you could get there where this would be your 3-2-1 system where you still play overtime, and if somebody wins in overtime, they get a point, and you still have your overtime loser point, but if no one scores, call it a tie and don't go to a shootout. That's, to me...
Yeah, that would force teams to go for it.
You'd have nothing to lose. You'd
Right.
have absolutely nothing to lose. You wouldn't play for the shootout. It's, hey, there's 5 minutes here. We're playing for the bonus point.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, each team still gets one.
Right.
To me, the number one mission throughout this entire discussion, whenever we're talking about the NHL's version of this, is I've got to make sure at the end of the game I have a good product. And that means no one is protecting the 1-1 score or 4-4, whatever the score ends up being at that time. So I think you could still do a 3-2-1 scoring system and have overtime winners and also still ties. You just
But
wouldn't.
it would just have to come at the end of overtime, not at the end of regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of overtime, and you would just say the shootout doesn't need to stay.
Right.
And
I might be okay with that.
I think I would too.
I don't need the shootout anymore.
I don't need
Like,
the shootout either.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it can be exciting, but it just always... Well, I liked it when I was a kid, but now it just feels so gimmicky to me.
Happy Tuesday. World Cup back to it today. 4 ties yesterday. And Cabo Verde ties Spain.
Big upset.
Yeah.
You know, we did our draft, and I think I thought when we were picking all those teams at the end, like, these teams aren't going to do anything.
And here they are.
And they've, like, looking at, like, who we picked in our last round, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Cape Verde, New Zealand, Bosnia have all tied.
Yeah. So we've got a 12-person group
It's been
chat
competitive.
because we have a 12-team World Cup fantasy league. We all drafted 4 teams, and it's 3 points for a win and 1 point for a tie. Mm-hmm. And, man, the celebrations happening because, was it Ryan Gates who has Cabo Verde?
Yes.
He got a point from Cabo Verde. Like, congratulations. You know who's going to win this league, right? The team that wins the World Cup is probably going to win the league. If you have France, the group stage is not where you win. You win because there are going to be 4 games on the way to winning the Cup. That's 12 points. Mm-hmm. You're not winning on Cabo Verde. It's like celebrating your bracket because you picked the 11 to beat the 6. Like, oh, I nailed it. But I'm going to win this bracket.
But it's not 12 versus 0 because if your best team makes it to the semifinals, then it's only a 6-point difference. If my best team makes it to the final, it's only a 3-point difference. And if I can make that, I can make that up in the group stage.
You think so?
Yeah, like, so who's your best team is who again? Portugal, right?
Portugal, yeah.
So if Portugal wins the World Cup,
yes,
and I have Germany, and Germany makes it to the final and loses to Portugal,
that's 3 points down.
I can make that up in the group stage.
You think so?
Yeah.
You
I
need
can make that up.
3 ties from Cabo Verde to make that up?
Oh, sorry. I might not be able to make it up just from that team.
That's right.
From all my teams in the group stage.
You're going to make it up in the group stage with Cabo Verde? Never mind that I also have other teams.
Right. I might need Paraguay to, do something at some point. Just Switzerland. But, yeah, no, the 4th place teams.
Not going to factor in. Likely, very unlikely to factor in, but that's all right.
Listen, though, if someone wins by 1... If he wins by 1, he's going to tell you he won because of Cabo Verde.
He can look back to he winning because of Cabo Verde or because Portugal had the group locked up and didn't play in their 3rd game. There's a lot to
that could be the U.S., by the way.
The U.S., have you seen the updated who they might play?
Yes, it's good for them.
That depends. Yes, you're right.
The first round is good for them.
Right. There's really no avoiding like the great teams eventually.
Right.
But I saw, here's some analytics site. It's
I saw the same thing. I got to hear. They are
likeliest to play Bosnia or Qatar in the round of 32.
Right.
And their round of 16 opponent most likely right now is Belgium.
Right. Which that would be by Michael Kelly. It's his numbers. He says it would be the easiest draw to the quarterfinals of any team in the tournament.
Yes. Which is not that surprising because the host countries got a little bit of an edge now that 3rd place teams also make it through, but whatever. Could be Bosnia or Qatar in the round of 32 as the most likely opponents, but it still could change. An awful lot could change.
Yep.
But right now, most likely round of 16 opponent if they get through Bosnia or Qatar, Belgium or Argentina.
That's a big difference, I think.
Yeah.
Not that Belgium isn't good.
Argentina's ranked number 1.
Yeah,
All right. And they play today. Argentina plays today.
Yep.
803-0550, our number. Paul Hamilton on the other side will, dip into some Sabres off-season stuff, what he's hearing, and the goaltending conversation. What to take away from Carolina, including a good story about a cinder block. Jeremy and Joe on WGR.
A day of draws in the World Cup yesterday. Spain and Cabo Verde drew 0-0. Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay drew 1-1. And Iran and New Zealand tied 2-2. Today, France takes on Senegal at 3 o'clock. Iraq plays Norway at 6. And Argentina plays Algeria at 9 o'clock. This Friday, the U.S. men's national team takes on Australia at 3. Looking around the NFL, ESPN's Pete Thamel reports Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby, former Texas Tech quarterback, plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby has been the subject of numerous legal battles within the NCAA ranks, amidst being a betting scandal this offseason. The Denver Post's Luca Evans reports R.J. Harvey underwent surgery this offseason to repair a torn labrum he suffered in the AFC Championship game lost to the Patriots. The Athletics' John Makata reports George Pickens has arrived to take his physical before Cowboys minicamp. That gets underway today. In baseball, the Mets got shut out by the Reds 12-0 yesterday. And tonight, the Blue Jays, they play the Red Sox at 6:45, and the Yankees host the White Sox at 7:05. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
It's Paul Hamilton.
Guys, how are you?
He keeps the people coming back for more.
My Uber dropped me at the wrong terminal, so I had to wait for a bus.
On WGR.
Paul Hamilton chiming in. Texted Paul yesterday like, hey, we're 2 weeks from the start of free agency roughly. We are 9 days from the NHL draft. The NHL offseason gets here quick, and now that the Cup is wrapped up, trades start happening, so let's get in with Paul, and he joins us on the Western Hotline. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
How'd you take in the Stanley Cup final, Paul? Went to 6 games. Carolina got to their game and really looked every part a champion on the way to the Stanley Cup.
I'd say almost every game was surprising, whether it was comebacks. I wouldn't have guessed that Carolina was going to win the last 3 games, with very little resistance from Vegas, the way they did it. I mean, Eichel and Marner were having such a great playoff. I mean, Eichel wasn't scoring goals, but he was getting points and playing well and creating offense. And then all of a sudden, the last 3 games, they disappeared.
Yeah.
It was like, but they disappeared because of Carolina. I mean, Carolina was just like putting on a clinic on how to play overall hockey. I won't just say defensive hockey, but just overall hockey in every zone. And I'll tell you, I know, as you know, I know some people in Carolina. Mike Maniscalco used to work at WGR, and I talked to him about it and others, and it's like I was like wondering, why isn't Bussy in goal to start? He won over 30 games in the regular season. And, Mike said, I think they wanted to go with the veteran Anderson, who also, had played well everything. And it looked like it was the right decision, for Carolina. I mean, Anderson played really, really well until he didn't once got in the finals. But then it was revealed he was fighting a knee injury. And finally couldn't go any longer with that knee injury. So in comes Bussy, who had such a great regular season, and Bussy finishes the job for him. So, again, here's a team that had 3 goalies this year, worked very well for them, they needed 2 goalies to get it done by the end, and one of them was claimed off waivers, just like what the Sabres did.
Was it the day after Colton Ellis or the day before Colton Ellis got claimed on waivers? It was right around Ellis.
It was the same week, though.
Yeah.
It was the same week. I don't remember, but, here's a goalie who hadn't played in the NHL, just like Colton Ellis, was playing well in the minors and got claimed off waivers, never had gotten an opportunity, and got that opportunity, took advantage of it. That's why. And I think I've said this to you guys, I'm not predicting that Colton Ellis is going to be the Sabres goalie next year, but it wouldn't shock me. There were some things I liked that I saw in Colton Ellis, during the season. One of them was he was always ready to go. It could be a month in between games, but he was ready to go, and would go in the net and get a win or whatever it was. And, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Colton Ellis will pull a Bussy and wind up in the Sabre net next year. Who knows?
Well, to that point, Joe's been saying many times in 0-2, like, don't rule out Colton Ellis. Paul, if we go back to when Kevin Adams was fired, one of the things we thought might have been at work was carrying 3 goalies and how that was difficult for them. And then they just kept doing it, which would indicate that there's definitely a level of belief in that player. And, of course, like, the goalie situation started to work. So maybe the writing is on the wall about Ellis, that Adams liked him enough to claim him, and then when that logjam appeared to be a problem, they didn't fix that problem. Jarmo must like him enough too. So, I suppose it's possible that he could continue to be here next year. Would you imagine they're going to carry 3 again?
Yeah, because what they said, and I knew the E-Bug situation. I knew you had to have one next year, and but. So all of a sudden, it makes sense to have 3 goalies, and I think you're going to see a bunch of teams do it. Because, would you rather have the E-Bug that doesn't have any NHL experience sitting there as your third goalie, or would you rather have an actual third goalie? And you've got a log jam in the Sabres organization with the 3 of them. I'm thinking by then you would think Devin Levi would be traded somewhere. So I don't know if he would still be in the equation anymore. But I think you're going to see more than just the handful of NHL teams that carried 3 goaltenders. And it worked for the Sabres because of injury. And, it was funny how Lyon talked about this afterwards. He goes, it was strange how it worked almost the way it was supposed to every time. He goes, somebody would get injured, but they would get back. And then once they got back, then within a week or a couple weeks, another guy would get injured. And then you would have to, but they never got in a hole where like 2 guys got injured. And it was always like, all right, well, we got the one guy back. And now the next guy's out or whatever. So it just seemed like the 3 and how many times did Lindy Ruff say during the year, see guys? Everybody's all worried about 3 goalies, but, we needed the third goalie type of a situation. Carolina played all 3, at different times during the season. But with the E-Bug situation, that you have to have one there and in attendance, can't have NHL experience. Well, if you have your third goalie, he can have NHL experience. And it's just the goofy because the Sabres did it twice this year. It happened twice where the third goaltender had to come down and dress, and he can't sit on the bench. I don't understand why, but he has to sit in the locker room. If he comes down and third goalie and dresses, he's in the locker room dressed, ready to go, but he can't be on the bench. So I don't know why, but it's the NHL where they do things that you can't explain.
Do you think they could see any more from Ellis than maybe someday being just the third guy, Paul? Like, would you guess more than 14 starts for him next year if they had it their way?
Who knows? I mean, he could come into training camp and be the best goaltender by far, and all of a sudden wind up in the net. Or like last year, all of us, you came in training camp, you thought, all right, Luukkonen was the number 1. They thought Luukkonen was the number 1. Well, he comes to training camp with an injury. So now Lyon starts X amount of games to start the season. And then they get into the alternating situation, which worked for them. I don't see like alternating and having 3 goalies in the equation doing that. But, I think they may look back at the alternating situation. I know for a fact Lindy Ruff liked it. And whichever 2 goaltenders at the time are, I think it would be Luukkonen and Lyon to start if all 3 are healthy. But if you get an injury in training camp or something like that, you might get in the alternating situation, and there might be Ellis and the guy who's healthy to do it. And then Ellis might pull a Bussy. And all of a sudden, he's got some NHL experience and is getting an opportunity to play on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden, he's showing why Kevin Adams really thought a lot of him and brought him into the organization and wouldn't let him go. And then Yarmo wouldn't let him go either. And they wound up with the 3 goaltenders. So, it's just one of those situations. And I guess I'm saying what you guys have already said, that just don't sleep on the guy. I mean, if he gets an opportunity, he might take advantage of it.
Paul Hamilton joining us, our Sabres beat reporter, on the offseason, which is here, and the draft is in 9 days. Things get started, of course. The draft will be here in Buffalo as well. And then free agency, Alex Tuck, and restricted free agency, and Michael Kesselring. Paul, there are guys that could get moved, guys that could get signed. On Tuck, which of the two do you think is the bigger concern? And they go hand in hand, of course. But the bigger concern for Tuck, is it the AAV that there are reports Yarmo does not maybe want to get to double digits there, and Tuck could very well see double digits? Or would it be the term that'd be the bigger concern? Joe and I went over the other day, talking about this Carolina team. They have a lot of guys that are older. It's an old team in their 30s. Jordan Stahl, 37. Now, he's not making $11 million, but he did sign for a long-term deal and continues to play and be productive at 37. Would it be the term or the dollar amount that would be most concerning to you for Tuck?
Well, I wrote about this yesterday. I decided to really do a little bit of a dive into it because Tuck, I was listening to him when he said at his press conference on Locker Cleanout Day that, with sports science, and the Sabres have a really good guy in charge of performance now. And if you look at it and say to yourself, well, wait a minute, he's talking about, with sports performance and everything, things are different in the NHL. Look at the amount of guys who are producing at an older age. And I thought, and then you see Stahl all of a sudden at age 37 walk away the Conn Smythe. In the finals, he scores in 5 consecutive games. He was a 20-goal scorer this year at age 37. In 75 games, he had 20 goals. So I thought, all right, let me start looking at these older players in the NHL. And you got the 2 41-year-olds. Brett Burns played every game for Colorado. Corey Perry had 17 goals in 17 games for Los Angeles and Tampa Bay at age 41. Ovechkin had 32 goals at age 40. Your 39-year-old is Evgeny Malkin, who had 61 points in 56 games. You had 4 guys who were 38. Crosby, who speaks for himself. Claude Giroux. Marchand is still 54 points in 52 games. Zuccarello in Minnesota had 54 points in 59 games. Those are your 38-year-olds who played this year. And even a guy like Stamkos, who was 36, scored 42 goals in 82 games. You want to go to the 35-year-old and Ryan O'Reilly, I bring him up because people know the name, 74 points in 81 games at 35 years. So it seems like nowadays in the NHL with the technology and the sports science, and Lindy Ruff listens to the sports science crew. They hardly practiced at all during the playoffs, and that was, talking with the sports science people that you don't need to be on the ice. It's better off to get your rest, or it's better off to be in the weight room, or it's better off to be in the gym. And it seemed to work for them too. So I'm starting to, because you know how staunch I've been. It's like you don't sign guys up to 38 years old, although I have said I think Tuck should be the exception for them. But with sports science and everything, I don't necessarily think 38 years old is a career death sentence anymore. And maybe Tuck can be another one of those guys who at 37 and 38 is still very productive.
I've always felt like, Paul, that Tuck could be one of those guys that would last in that way because of his skating. And you could also add in, I guess, like a two-way game. Like if you think of like why Skinner is done at 33 years old, 34 in the NHL, why like Molson, after the Sabres signed him to a big deal, like flamed out quickly. Like those guys did not have the speed to keep up once they got into their 30s. And like you mentioned like sports science stuff, like those NHL Edge stats on like his skating, like he was still an 85th percentile skater on a certain mile per hour speed burst last year. Like the skating is still there, and if he's got that, then how afraid am I of him not being a player at all at 35? I'm not sure he would be a $10 million player at 35, but can he still be somebody that's playing on my third line? Could he be Zucker in 5 years, and how upset am I going to be by that? Like, I just think the consequences might not be as bad as they have been in the past.
And, Joe, I wouldn't rule it out that he could still maybe be a 25 to 30 goal scorer, just because I'm looking at guys who are doing it in the NHL who really don't have a huge drop-off, as they are getting older and aging in the NHL. Now, if reports are correct that, they're only offering Tuch 8.5, or under $9 million, let's say, my personal opinion is that's an absolute embarrassment. I think that Tuch is worth more than $8.5 million, and I thought, well, maybe that's just a negotiating ploy, and once it gets closer, it'll come up. And that's the other thing I looked at too. Just because it's where are we at June 16th doesn't necessarily mean it's over. It's not looking great. But look at in 2016, Stamkos signed on June 29th. And he re-signed with Tampa Bay when it looked like he already had taken meetings with other teams, including the Sabres. And he signed. Look at Brock Besser last year. He went to free agency for a half hour and then circled back to the Canucks. Now, he couldn't get the 8-year deal anymore because free agency has started, so he got 7. But he went to free agency for a half hour. I guess they didn't like what they heard, and they went back to the Canucks and re-signed with the Canucks. So even though it's not looking great right now and there seems to be a big gap, that doesn't mean that before July 1st rolls around, or even if they go to free agency, it doesn't mean that it's totally over.
Yeah, you might have a strategy where you have an offer on the table, and then there's one more, all right, what if we went to this? And you won't go to free agency. Here, we'll sweeten it a little bit, make it look a little better right before he ultimately gets there. Do you think, Paul, he'll get to market?
That's the thing. When I'm looking at these deals that are made, these last-minute deals, they got to know 8.5 is not going to get it done. I don't think you want them very badly if you're going to sit at 8.5. And there are ways you can open up money on this roster. I have talked about this with you guys now for a while. You can trade a guy like Greenway. I like Greenway, but I'd rather have Tuch. And you can open up $4 million there. Now, Noah Ostlund is not as fast as McLeod, and McLeod's speed, there's something to be said for that. But McLeod, I thought, even though he had 2 more points this year, I don't think he was as good this year defensively as he was the year before. I don't even think it was close. And I think Ostlund is a two-way player. Right now might be even better, than McLeod. So I think you have a guy in your roster that can take that role that McLeod had. That's $5 million there. So there's 2 players I just named that you could open up $9 million in salary if you trade them on your salary cap.
Paul Hamilton with us. Paul, a lot of big names are being thrown around on the rumor mill in the NHL right now. No matter, well, I mean, maybe it matters who the guy coming back would be, but is Owen Power totally untouchable to you at this point?
I don't know if I'd use the word untouchable. I'd never say never. But the way Jarmo Kekalainen talks about how you build a team, I think he's more interested in keeping those 4 defensemen than he is trading any one of the 4 of them. And I think he's very interested, and he said so, in keeping Byram and getting started on a negotiation with him because of, and he brought it up. He goes, I believe you build from the back out. And he believes that the Sabres pretty much have the best top 4 in the league, and he wants to keep them together. So with the way Jarmo talks, I guess I probably would be surprised if Owen Power would be in the conversation in a trade type of scenario. Yep. I think he definitely wants to keep those 4 and will do whatever he can to do it. Now, if Byram is not interested in re-signing, well, now it's a different ballgame. Now, would they turn to Kesselring, who was brought in here to be a top 4, but then the top four emerged, and there wasn't room for him in the top four. So, yeah, I think I could say I'd be surprised if Owen Power became part of a trade, but you never say never.
Paul, to that point, like without making it about a trade package, is there a name you've heard that is now available, whether that's Dylan Larkin asking for a trade, Connor Hellebuck, Matthew Barzal? Like, has there been a name you've seen this player might be available that to you is like a stop the presses, pursue that right away?
Larkin, I think being a centerman, what would be, you could then have Norris and Larkin, if Norris isn't part of the trade package, as your centerman, and have Thompson on the wing. So I think you become a better team if you can bring Dylan Larkin in. Now, especially if Tuck isn't here and doesn't re-sign, now you've lost a winger who's really, really good, but you bring in a centerman who's really, really good. Again, whatever money you might have been going to spend on Tuck, well, all right, now you're going to spend it on Larkin. Again, you might have to open up a little bit of salary cap room to be able to do it, but that's the name that would really, really interest me, and I think could make the Sabres a better team. Of course, Thomas, but according to reports, out of St. Louis, that the Blues no longer want to. Now, does that mean they won't? I mean, again, I keep saying it, never say never.
Right.
So that doesn't mean they definitely won't. What if they get an offer they can't refuse?
Right.
So that would be another one.
I mean,
that would very much interest me.
There could be huge names. I mean, it continues to. Chris Johnson was another one yesterday. Friedman said the same thing. Like, there are going to be more big trade requests, and I just think it's wild, Paul, that all this talk about like USA Hockey's group chat, and you've got 4 guys that are going into the final year of their deal: Quinn Hughes, Austin Matthews, Brady Tkachuk, and Zach Werenski. And then you have 2 guys that we think Larkin actually has asked for a trade, and then Hellebuck, who many people think could. Like, you have all these guys that just won the gold medal, where I feel like everyone's holding their breath, waiting to see like who wants to change teams.
And now it seems like trade has become the new free agency. Free agency isn't anything close to what it used to be, because there was a time and the Sabres did it, and a lot of teams did it, they were locking up their young players and to long-term contracts, which kind of shot free agency. These guys are getting locked into 7-8 year deals, and now you're not going to have the free agents available that you used to have, where you had that stupid money. I always used to call it stupid time, because they would go, and guys who didn't deserve to get X amount of dollars. Nurse would be an example. I don't think Nurse is I believe it's $9.5 million defenseman. He's asked to be traded. I would want to take on that contract for what I'm getting in Darnell Nurse. That's the kind of contract that a lot of free agents were getting, and it almost seems like that kind of free agency is dead now. Then it was like, the college free agents took over. Jimmy Vesey was supposed to be the next superstar in the league, and oh no, and he didn't. And Cal Peterson, he's supposed to be the next Patrick Waugh, and no, that didn't happen. And so college free agency is kind of fizzled as, the getting the great players. I mean, yeah, you get the odd great player out of it, but so that kind of has gone by the wayside as the way to build your team. So now I think a lot of guys, it's like, I've been in a losing team, I don't want to be here anymore, and it seems like maybe that is something that's taking over now.
Paul Hamilton, the draft is Friday of next week, Paul. So we'll you're at the ready, because this is when things could happen. Then, of course, at the draft, it's a decentralized draft, but here in Buffalo, and the Sabres pick. For anybody out there that doesn't know, I had to actually check. Usually they're picking somewhere 1 to 10 to 12 to 14. 27th.
27.
The 27th pick. They've picked 27th once before.
And I think in Jarmo Kekalainen's case, I don't think would be afraid to trade it at all.
Yeah.
Because what are you getting at 27? If you look, you might get a superstar, but you're probably getting a guy who's in the middle of your lineup or maybe in the bottom of your lineup. No, that's not the worst thing in the world. But if that has to be part of a trade, I don't even think I would give it a thought. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
The
last time they drafted 27th, the only time they drafted 27th, they did get an NHL player who played 969 games. Do you want to guess who it is? 969 games, only 46 for the Buffalo Sabres. 46 games for the Sabres. He was then
Was it Dan Paille?
No. I'll give you the team he went to immediately after it. He went to Tampa, and then to Calgary, and then Colorado.
This is a tough. He played 46 games for the Sabres.
46 games, no goals as a Sabre.
Okay, so
he was on Tampa by the time he was 21.
It's got to be a defenseman. Ooh. It's not a goalie, right? You're just with the zero goals.
You're right. Nope.
I'm stumped. Well, Paul, it's got to be recent. It's not going to be from the 70s because he went to Tampa immediately after.
All right, you ready? He was acquired in a trade for a player mentioned earlier on the show today. Which Paul's not going to get.
Trade.
He's a piece in the Chris Gratton trade.
There was more to that trade than. Oh wait, the trade that sent Gratton to Buffalo.
Yes.
Oh,
the Sabres get Gratton and a second-round pick for.
Oh, no, sorry, I was going to say Corey Sarich.
Yes,
that's it.
That's the name. Brian Holzinger, Wayne Primo, Corey Sarich, and a third. Corey Sarich. That's the only time the Sabres ever picked 27th.
He wasn't. I'm trying to think.
Almost.
Didn't they get to have 2 first-round picks that year?
Ooh, I can double check
Or
that.
No.
I got their draft history open. I can look. They picked.
Oh no, that they wouldn't have enough teams back then. 27. I'm just looking. Is the second round.
Is that right?
Yeah, they drafted Eric Rasmussen at number 7 in the first round, Corey Sarich at 27 in the second round, and Darren Van Oen at 33 in the second round.
You are right. I clicked the sort by number. It was the 27th pick of the second round.
Yeah.
You're right about that. In the first round, they picked 26th and 28th. But
the 27th overall pick in 1996 was a second-round pick.
You're right.
The odds of that pick, I mean, it does happen a lot that those guys won't even make the league, but I think it's above 50-50.
Well, okay, if you want to do like
that they will. Just like Kulik was the 28th pick, I think, and he's going to be an NHLer.
And Tyler Ennis is a 26th pick.
Right, yeah, so it does, yeah.
And Kulik, I think, has an opportunity to be a very, very good NHL player. He might be the guy that breaks the mold a little bit. That I said, well, you get a player that every now and then jumps in and can be a huge contributor. I think Kulik has the ability to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they thought so, too. They were shocked when Kulik was still there when they picked. I mean, they like, really? Let's pick him now quickly. Let's get this name in there. So, yeah, he could be the guy, one of the guys that, breaks the mold there and is somebody that I don't want to use the word superstar, but can be a very, very good NHL player. They got Johnson in the first round very, very late, and it's not looking like he was 31st overall, and it's not looking like he's going to turn into an NHL player. He's a very good AHL player, and I think is a guy that can come in and fill in the NHL, but right now, I'm not seeing a guy that's going to be a regular NHL defenseman, and they got him at 31 in the first round.
Paul Hamilton joining us on the Western Hotline. Thanks, Paul.
Take care, guys.
We'll talk to Paul, I'm sure, maybe later this week, definitely next week. The draft, trades, signings, the NHL offseason is upon us.
If you look at like 25 to 35, like that range, Sabres got some. I mean, Samuelson is in there. Paterka is in there. You mentioned Ennis, if you want to go far enough 26th. Back, is in there. Right, Ryan Johnson's the one that he's not going to be an NHL player at this point. That didn't pan out. Yeah,
Sarich, a second round pick. I went to the draft picks and clicked the number 27. I neglected to look at the round next to it.
I almost stopped myself because I thought, he was like a really late round pick, and I had him confused with another Sabre first round pick that played like 1,000 games as a defenseman. That was Dennis Weidman, who was a Sabre draft pick, but he was like the 7th round.
803-0550 to join us, and 1-888-550-2550. When we get back, a quick Bills thing for you. I've seen 2 numbers on the Bills' offense in the last couple days, the offense of last year, Joe Brady's offense. One thing, you'll want to do again. In another, you'll want big improvements in. That's next. I can remember a tie. I remember the most random tie ever. I remember the Sabres tied a game against Nashville in maybe 2004 where Chris Gratton scored late. And that's a time where if you tied a game late, you felt like, oh, that's a good tie.
Yeah.
Whereas if you gave up that goal late, oh, that's a bad tie. Same as, how it works in the NHL where you score late or give up a goal late. Gratton had a deflection on a puck and it went in like, oh, okay, it was a tie. Good. Nice work. But I don't want it ever coming back. If it were to come back, I think you could get there. I think you could get there where this would be your 3-2-1 system where you still play overtime, and if somebody wins in overtime, they get a point, and you still have your overtime loser point. But if no one scores, call it a tie and don't go to a shootout. That's, to me...
Yeah, that would force teams to go for it.
You'd have nothing to lose. You'd
Right.
have absolutely nothing to lose. You wouldn't play for the shootout. It's, hey, there's 5 minutes here. We're playing for the bonus point.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, each team still gets one.
Right.
To me, the number one mission throughout this entire discussion, whenever we're talking about the NHL's version of this, is I've got to make sure at the end of the game I have a good product. And that means no one is protecting the 1-1 score or 4-4, whatever the score ends up being at that time. So I think you could still do a 3-2-1 scoring system and have overtime winners and also still ties. You just
But it would just have to come at the end of overtime, not at the end of regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of overtime, and you would just say the shootout doesn't need to stay.
Right.
And
I might be okay with that.
I think I would too.
I don't need the shootout anymore.
I don't need the shootout either.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it can be exciting, but it just always... Well, I liked it when I was a kid, but now it just feels so gimmicky to me.
Paul, there are guys that could get moved, guys that could get signed. On Tuck, which of the two do you think is the bigger concern? And they go hand in hand, of course, but the bigger concern for Tuck, is it the AAV that there are reports Jarmo does not maybe want to get to double digits there, and Tuck could very well see double digits? Or would it be the term that would be the bigger concern? Joe and I went over the other day, like talking about this Carolina team. They have a lot of guys that are older. It's an old team. In their 30s, Jordan Stahl 37. Now, he's not making $11 million, but he did sign for a long-term deal and continues to play and be productive at 37. Would it be the term or the dollar amount that would be most concerning to you for Tuck?
Well, I wrote about this yesterday. I decided to really do a little bit of a dive into it because Tuck, I was listening to him when he said at his press conference on Locker Cleanout Day that, with sports science, and the Sabres have a really good guy in charge of performance now. And if you look at it and say to yourself, well, wait a minute, he's talking about, well, with sports performance and everything, things are different in the NHL. Look at the amount of guys who are producing at an older age. And I thought, and then you see Stahl all of a sudden at age 37 walk away the Conn Smythe. In the finals, he scores in 5 consecutive games. He was a 20-goal scorer this year at age 37. In 75 games, he had 20 goals. So I thought, all right, let me start looking at these older players in the NHL. And you got the two 41-year-olds. Brett Burns played every game for Colorado. Corey Perry had 17 goals in 17 games for Los Angeles and Tampa Bay at age 41. Ovechkin had 32 goals at age 40. Your 39-year-old is Evgeny Malkin, who had 61 points in 56 games. You had 4 guys who were 38. Crosby, who speaks for himself. Claude Giroux. Marchand is still 54 points in 52 games. Zuccarello in Minnesota had 54 points in 59 games. Those are your 38-year-olds who played this year. And even a guy like Stamkos, who was 36, scored 42 goals in 82 games. You want to go to the 35-year-old and Ryan O'Reilly, I bring him up because people know the name, 74 points in 81 games at 35.
Cup yesterday, Spain and Cabo Verde drew 0-0. Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay drew 1-1. Iran and New Zealand tied 2-2. Today, France takes on Senegal at 3. Iraq plays Norway at 6. And Argentina plays Algeria at 9. This Friday, the U.S. men's national team takes on Australia at 3. Looking around the NFL, the Denver Post's Luca Evans reports R.J. Harvey underwent surgery this offseason to repair a torn labrum he suffered in the AFC Championship loss to the Patriots. The Athletic's John Makata reports George Pickens has arrived to take his physical before Cowboys minicamp. And ESPN's Pete Thamel reports former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby has been the subject of numerous legal battles within the NCAA ranks amidst being a betting scandal this offseason. And in baseball, the Mets got shut out by the Reds 12-0 yesterday. Tonight, the Blue Jays, they play the Red Sox at 6:45, and the Yankees, they host the White Sox at 7:05. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
You're going to get to the Super Bowl first, which they haven't done this era, and then win it. You're not going to do it with a quarterback who is playing it safe. You're going to do it with Josh Allen stiff-arming and hurdling and, taking that chance into double coverage. You need your quarterback playing purely as he's always intended to play. How long does it last? Who the hell knows? We've seen the likes of Cam Newton and to Mike Vick, quarterbacks who do use their legs more than most. Things can fall off, into your late 30s. Josh Allen's proven people wrong time and time again. I don't think he's close to falling off that cliff.
Tyler Dunn with Mike Shope. Tyler had to sit down one-on-one with Josh Allen. Of course, the Bills get off to training camp soon. Update on the Giant Buffalo /Bison. Call them what you'd like. We're going to call them the Giant Buffaloes, or at least I'm going to. Mm-hmm. There's a crane out there the other day, so maybe we're getting close. It's June 16th. Time to get that giant art installation up there.
Wait a minute. There was a crane at the stadium site? Have there been a lot of
but
cranes?
Out in front where the Buffalo
okay,
would
specifically
be. They're
where the Buffalo
hoist,
would be?
There'll be hoisting of things.
Because I'm like, crane at construction site that's been going on for a couple of years wouldn't be as surprising.
Do they still need cranes? That stadium's kind of done.
They don't need to lift anything else in there?
I think trucks and forklifts, but I think
all right,
cranes are done.
Cranes have vacated the area otherwise?
Yeah.
All right.
Right?
I don't know. I haven't driven by it in
no, me neither.
months.
So
weeks.
two stats for you. I teased going to the break. One thing on the Bills and the Bills offense. One thing you're going to want to keep. One thing you're going to want to get better at. Which one you want first?
What's the thing I want to keep?
The thing you want to keep. Warren Sharp yesterday pointed out the average yards gained on opening drives in the NFL.
Yeah.
How many yards did you get on your opening drive?
I think this came up the other day when we were looking at how they started games.
We had point differential.
And on the first quarter they were bad, but on first drives they were good.
Yeah.
Somehow. I'm going to guess they were great in yards.
Best in the league.
Yeah.
The Bills averaged 54 yards on their opening drives in the NFL last season.
It's really good.
Yeah, number one in the league. And if you look at the top teams, it's pretty much littered with the good offenses, and whether it's a great quarterback or a great scheme, it's the Bills, the Ravens, the Rams, the Colts, the Patriots, the Packers, Carolina, Giants, Detroit. You just got a lot of good scripts out of the gate. So the thing you want to keep, the best offense in terms of gaining yards on your opening drive. If you want to say red zone issues are a problem there, but think about where you get the ball. Where do you start?
25.
The 25, sometimes the 30.
Yep.
And you're getting into the red zone. Great stat on the Bills last year. 54 yards average on their opening drives. Now, the number you want to get better at is how the Bills' offense did against the blitz. And I think we would all remember last year, especially specific games, right?
Yeah.
Houston, Atlanta.
Those are the top two.
Those are the top two where teams started to realize, like, if we just blitz the hell out of Josh Allen, we can get home and they're going to have trouble. So Sumer Sports had this. This actually is not even that bad, but to me, it will illustrate why teams started blitzing Josh Allen. This is where the Bills will want to get better. Quarterback EPA per play when blitzed.
Mm-hmm.
Allen finished 10th. Like 10th is not bad. But if I've got a quarterback that I think is like the best quarterback in the sport, and I think there's a situation I can get him in where he becomes the 10th best,
that's good for them.
Right. That's a win. It's a win for a defense.
Yep.
And any defense that feels like it has the ability, a good team, a good defense, we can blitz this guy. And he it's not that he's not as good. Their results aren't as good when he's blitzed. He's 10th. And number 1, Drake May. Number 2, Jordan Love, Lamar, Stafford, Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Jared Goff, Trevor Lawrence, Dak Prescott, Allen. So to me, this is less an Allen thing and more a scheme and more answers for the blitz. So, like, these two things. What do you want to keep? You want to keep what you're doing on opening drives because you were great at that. And for Joe Brady and for this offense, whether it's the presence of DJ Moore or just better scheme, better ideas, you're going to want to be better against the blitz. Or else that's a way for your quarterback to take hits and sacks, and those are things that we're going to want to avoid if what Tyler Dunn is talking about is going to happen. Keep him healthy, keep him upright. He's going to initiate contact on his own anyway. He's still going to stiff arm guys. He's still going to run through guys. So let's drop the number of hits, and the best way to do that is to get better against the blitz.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't it feel like that was something that Allen was incredible at?
Yes.
Before last year? Like, I'd want to find it. Didn't he have at one point, maybe it was, I'm thinking of like a touchdown interception stat, that he was like perfect against the blitz in his first couple of years after he become one of the best quarterbacks in football? Like, that feels like something that is regressed. And what would explain that? Could that just be the line not having as good of a year? It could be, I mean, my mind, I'll tell you where my mind goes immediately when I hear they're 10th against the blitz and not like top 3. He doesn't have quick answers.
Then it's been the receivers.
Right. Like, unless it's a screen, like unless it's a predetermined quick pass screen, where is the guy where ball's got to come out? Like that feels like what would have been a Beasley spot back in the day.
It's one of the other.
Ball's got to come out and it's got to be like a 5-yard pass, and you got to know you trust the guy and where it's going because here comes the blitz. Where's it going? Like, I felt like Beasley and Diggs were always going to be reliable there.
It's probably a lot of things. It's a guy to get open quickly, a guy to have good chemistry with Allen, he can trust, he knows where he's going to be, or a guy to burn a team over the top. Like you're gonna bring numbers, you're gonna pay for it,
and then you throw it down the field.
Sure, down the field, or a guy that gets open quickly can burn them. Buffalo Rumblings last year had this. I searched Allen against the blitz, and in October, the numbers were that Allen, the number of blitzes he was seeing, the percentage of blitzes he was seeing, has been on a steady rise. In 2022, it was 23% of dropbacks. Last year, at the time of this publishing, it was 28%. He was seeing the highest blitz rate he'd seen in 4 years, and like that Falcons game, they blitzed on 56% of his dropbacks. So last year, it kind of became a story, and yeah. I think receiver has been one of the big problems and why that's happened. There's not been anybody teams have been afraid of. Maybe Kincaid being healthy and being on the field is a part of this too, right? Kincaid is very good at getting open. But that's an area, if I'm looking at this Bills offense, like, all right, what do we got to get better at? What should we want to get better at? It's being good enough to dissuade teams from even sending a blitz. Never mind. And the best way to do that is to beat it. So I know 10th is still not bad, but anything Josh Allen is 10th in, which there's going to be something. If you knew he was the best quarterback against man and 10th against zone, what would you play? You'd play zone. If you thought he's the best quarterback in the league from a clean pocket and 10th when you blitz him, what would you do? You'd blitz him. Yeah. So you got to find a way for
what we're using for 10th
results.
again, EPA per dropback?
Yeah.
Yeah, the year before he was second. Only Lamar was better.
Yeah.
The previous season.
Last year, a little bit, you'd call it a blip. You could say it's maybe Allen wasn't seeing things as clearly, whatever it might have been. 5-man protections, not having safety valves, not having things. But that's something for this offense, I think we'd all like to see get better.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons.
He had not had, I bring up like Beasley and Diggs. I'm looking right now. He had not been like top of the league every single year. Like 2020, he was 6th. But then 21, he falls to 16th in EPA per dropback. So he had a couple of years.
Against the blitz? Or just
against the blitz, specifically. And maybe, honestly, a better way to do it would just be like, what is his number? Like, where there's some guys that raise the bar and, his number stayed the same, but the ranking can change around. But either way, like, he's got a couple of years in here where he is, like, one of the best quarterbacks in football when he's being blitzed. And last year just was a little closer to the middle of the pack. I think you should want him to be number 1 or 2 in every one of those categories, because it feels like if your offense is right and built well and schemed well around him, he's capable of being number 1 or 2 in every one of those categories.
Let's talk about the guy that was number 1. It was Drake May. Yeah. And Drake May's number 1 against the blitz. In fact, like, I also saw kind of like this composite of how every quarterback stacks up in this number, this number, this number, this number. And there are 3 guys that appear on almost every list, and it's, I forget the third, but it's May and Allen all over these lists.
Yeah.
Both great. And May got a little bit of it's the schedule, this and that. And in the Super Bowl, he, of course, did not have any answers. But that's a team that didn't have any answers and overhauled what they have at receiver and also added the offensive line. So I'd expect he'll continue to be great against the blitz. Maybe he won't get blitzed. Like, I feel like if you're great at it, you're going to convince teams not to do it unless they're, kind of desperate.
And, it's like we go into the weeds on the numbers here. Like, I'm looking at NFL Pro and, like, when Allen is blitzed, like, what's happening? So there's the EPA stuff, and there's the yards, and there's everything. Touchdowns, 7, interceptions, 5. And there's their quarterback pressure rate. He's pressured when they blitz 36% of the time. There are 26 quarterbacks higher than that. So that doesn't sound like I want to blame the line and the running back. Like, maybe those 2 games are that's true of, the Falcons game and the Houston game, where he was under duress all the time. But when you're being blitzed 2/3 of the time, you're not being pressured. Like, there were hardly any quarterbacks in the league that were pressured less than that.
Yeah.
Bo Nix, Tua, Stafford, Rodgers, and Darnold. That's it. Like, you're being blitzed, but you're actually not being pressured as much when you're blitzed.
Who are the guys again?
The guys that are less than that?
Yeah.
Darnold, Bo Nix, Tua, Stafford, and Rodgers.
These are guys that get the ball out.
Yeah.
Those are guys. Right. Those the ball's coming out for those guys.
And Mac Jones, if you want to count him. It's less
again
attempts.
here, like, this is where it's hopefully DJ Moore, Skylar Bell, healthy Kincaid. Yeah. What do all those guys have? There are some lethal weapons in some of those offenses. I wouldn't put one in Aaron Rodgers' offense, but the Broncos just added Jalen Waddle to that mix, and the Rams, of course, have had great receivers. And I think you see weapons. What do the Seahawks have? JSN, like the best receiver in football at getting open. So hopefully the answer comes from the weapons, because the line's basically back outside of left guard. The coordinator's back. Mm-hmm. I hope that one thing that you trickle down from not completely, but whatever, a good solid change to your weapons can help in this department. Because again, like, there's EPA and you're talking pressure percentage. A throwaway that ends up in an incompletion is not necessarily a negative play, but that is what will keep you 10th instead of 1st. You get the ball to Skylar Bell on one of these plays and he flashes some speed, or even Keon Coleman, who had a lot of yak ability. Like, finding answers to the blitz and hitting some plays will, climb the standings, as opposed to just the live to see another day mentality.
The guy that, by the way, faced the most pressure when blitzed, he was actually
let me guess.
The only guy that had the qualifying amount of attempts that was over 50%.
Saw the most pressure when blitzed?
Yeah, 52.7%. For comparison, Allen, I just told you, was at 36%.
Caleb Williams. No, that would have been him 2 years
Williams
ago.
almost identical to Allen, actually.
I was going to say, 2 years ago, that was Caleb Williams. My guesses are like Jackson Dart or Burrow.
Cam Ward.
All right.
52%. I'm going to buy some Cam Ward this year. Dave Dable's going to...
He's got a better scheme.
He's going to put that guy in a better spot.
Better scheme, and he's got Carnell Tate.
Yes.
That helps. 803-0550 and 1-888-552-550. Jeremy and Joe on WGR. Coming up in our 8 o'clock hour, the World Cup of Joe. A new game where you can learn about these countries. And, we'll keep going on the NHL juicy rumors. Get you some juicy rumors, what the latest is. That's coming up in the 8 o'clock hour as well. Paul, there are guys that could get moved, guys that could get signed. On Tuck, which of the two do you think is the bigger concern? And they go hand in hand, of course, but the bigger concern for Tuck, is it the AAV?
Jeremy White here.
That
Insurance.
the reports Yarmo does not maybe want to get to double digits there, and Tuck could very well see double digits. Or would it be the term that would be the bigger concern? Joe and I went over the other day, talking about this Carolina team. They have a lot of guys that are older. It's an old team. In their 30s, Jordan Staal 37. Now, he's not making $11 million, but he did sign for a long-term deal and continues to play and be productive at 37. Would it be the term or the dollar amount that would be most concerning to you for Tuck?
Well, I wrote about this yesterday. I decided to really do a little bit of a dive into it because Tuck, I was listening to him when he said at his press conference on Locker Cleanout Day that, with sports science, and the Sabres have a really good guy in charge of performance now. And if you look at it and say to yourself, well, wait a minute, he's talking about, with sports performance and everything, things are different in the NHL. Look at the amount of guys who are producing at an older age. And I thought, and then you see Staal all of a sudden at age 37 walk away the Conn Smythe. In the finals, he scores in 5 consecutive games. He was a 20-goal scorer this year at age 37. In 75 games, he had 20 goals. So I thought, all right, let me start looking at these older players in the NHL. And you got the 2 41-year-olds. Brett Burns played every game for Colorado. Corey Perry had 17 goals in 17 games for Los Angeles and Tampa Bay at age 41. Ovechkin had 32 goals at age 40. Your 39-year-old is Evgeny Malkin, who had 61 points in 56 games. You had 4 guys who were 38. Crosby, who speaks for himself. Claude Giroux. Marchand is still 54 points in 52 games. Zuccarello in Minnesota had 54 points in 59 games. Those are your 38-year-olds who played this year. And even a guy like Stamkos, who was 36, scored 42 goals in 82 games. You want to go to the 35-year-old and Ryan O'Reilly, I bring him up because people know the name, 74 points in 81 games at 35 years. So it seems like nowadays in the NHL with the technology and the sports science, and Lindy Ruff listens to the sports science crew. They hardly practiced at all during the playoffs, and that was, talking with the sports science people that you don't need to be on the ice. It's better off to get your rest, or it's better off to be in the weight room, or it's better off to be in the gym. And that seemed to work for them too. So I'm starting to, because you know how staunch I've been. It's like you don't sign guys up to 38 years old, although I have said I think Tuck should be the exception for them. But with sports science and everything, I don't necessarily think 38 years old is a career death sentence anymore.
Hi, good morning, Jeremy and Joe. Right now, every sports fan in the country is asking themselves the same question. Do I have to care about Brendan Sorsby in any way with a single brain cell? No.
I'm going to reserve. I want to know where he goes in the supplemental draft.
He's going to be supplementally drafted, we think?
Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, when tweeting about him entering the supplemental draft, said he's regarded as a first-round talent.
Okay.
And I'm assuming that's because people in the league have told him that.
So
if someone spends a second-round supplemental pick on him, or let alone a first, then I feel like I'll want to care a little bit.
You wouldn't do a first. He might be a first-round pick. I've seen him as QB9. Like, it's a loaded class.
Right.
Someone might bid a third or a fourth.
I also saw that this year he would have been the second quarterback picked, and he could have gone to the Rams at 11 if he was in the draft. So if he goes in a second-round spot somewhere, yeah, he'll be curious to me. But if he's like a fifth-round whatever, I don't care. Who cares?
My guess is he goes like third or fourth in the supplemental draft. The supplemental draft is weird.
Well, then I'll have to decide.
Every 5 years we have to Google how that thing works.
Right.
Anyway, we'll explain that at some point. 803-0550. World Cup of Joe game coming up, among other things. Jeremy and Joe here on WGR.
Do you think they could see any more from Ellis than maybe someday being just the third guy, Paul? Like, would you guess more than 14 starts for him next year if they had it their way?
Who knows? I mean, he could come into training camp and be the best goaltender by far, and all of a sudden wind up in the net. Or like last year, all of us, you came in training camp, you thought, all right, Luukkonen was the number one. They thought Luukkonen was the number one. Well, he comes to training camp with an injury. So now Lions starts X amount of games to start the season. And then they get into the alternating situation, which worked for them. I don't see like alternating and having three goalies in the equation doing that. But I think they may look back at the alternating situation. I know for a fact Lindy Ruff liked it. And whichever two goaltenders at the time are, I think it would be Luukkonen and Lyon to start if all three are healthy. But if you get an injury in training camp or something like that, you might get in the alternating situation, and there might be Ellis and the guy who's healthy to do it. And then Ellis might pull a Bussy. And all of a sudden, he's got some NHL experience and is getting an opportunity to play on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden, he's showing why Kevin Adams really thought a lot of him and brought him into the organization and wouldn't let him go. And then Jarmo wouldn't let him go either. And they wound up with the three goaltenders. So, it's one of those situations. And I guess I'm saying what you guys have already said, that just don't sleep on the guy. I mean, if he gets an opportunity, he might take advantage of it.
How confident would he be that this team is just going to be back and competing for a Stanley Cup? How many teams would you feel better about that for?
Probably a couple,
not
but
even, but better. Just that.
Yeah.
I mean, we point out a couple times last couple weeks, Mike Greer left after 05-06 and questioned commitment to winning. Right? It was a great team, and it was commitment to winning. He questioned their commitment to winning. And
he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
A year later, he was
right.
right.
He was right to do that. And I don't know that Alex Tuch's about to do that with this team, but there's a million variables. And let's talk about that from a Sabres fan perspective. How confident are you that what we just saw wasn't, and I'm going to use a phrase here that someone in the chat on YouTube used yesterday, a good 5 months, and instead of that was really, okay, no, this is the culmination of what Kevin Adams was building. It's going to be good here. And if Tuch wanted to stay and Jarmo wanted him here, then he would feel good about his chances to win. Versus if Florida calls or Tampa calls.
Or Colorado.
Would you instantly feel like, wow, I mean, come on, it's Colorado. Come on, it's Tampa. Come on, it's Florida. Mm-hmm. They're more likely to stay in the mix, even though Florida just had a down year. Florida calls Alex Tuch, like, hey, we'd like to have you on board.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of those teams, I think you just mentioned most of them that would fit, like maybe Dallas would as well. But And maybe why you're not hearing many of them mentioned is I don't know that they have the ability to give him the contract that is. They might be in the same place that the Sabres are. Like, hey, we'd be interested, and we might be able to figure out a way to give you like a $9.5 million a year contract. But if you want to go up towards like $11 million, like that's not going to be us. It probably would have to be one of those teams that are closer to the bottom.
A day of draws in the World Cup yesterday. Spain and Cabo Verde drew 0-0. Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay drew 1-1. And Iran and New Zealand tied 2-2. Today, France takes on Senegal at 3 o'clock. Iraq plays Norway at 6 o'clock. And Argentina plays Algeria at 9. This Friday, the men's U.S. national team gets back in action. And they take on Australia at 3 o'clock. Looking around the NFL, ESPN's Pete Thamel reports former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby has been the subject of numerous legal battles within the NCAA ranks amidst a betting scandal this offseason. In baseball, the Mets got shut out by the Reds 12-0 yesterday. Tonight, the Blue Jays, they play the Red Sox at 6:45, and the Yankees, they host the White Sox at 7:05. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
They get closer, into the box, headed down, save! Another one, and they tie it at one!
World Cup rolls on today. A day of draws yesterday on your Monday. Morning, everybody. Jeremy and Joe.
Do hardcore soccer fans get mad when we call them ties?
No, there are a couple of soccer phrases and terms that get used that get confusing even to me as a person that does watch soccer. Like the term brace.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a goal.
That's a good one,
right?
I don't know.
That's a brace in soccer is where when a player scores 2 goals in the same match. It's a brace.
Okay.
Like I said, there's a couple.
I'll take your word
Sometimes the word tie is used to mean another game is coming. When's the next tie? I don't know. There's some strange soccer terminology out there. No?
I'm trying to think of another one. They don't say brace much, right?
No. I saw it in an article about a Kai Havertz goal for scoring 2 goals in a match is a brace. A hat trick is 3 and a brace is 2.
I mean, now that I know what mistaken identity means,
right.
I think I've got most of it covered at this point.
Yeah. 803-0550. There's clean sheets, of course. You know that. That's going to be
it's a zero. It's a shutout.
It's a shutout. It's a clean sheet. Anyway, a day.
Should we start calling shutouts in hockey clean sheets?
Sure.
You're actually on a sheet of ice.
Indeed.
So it actually makes even more sense.
Yeah. There's a friendly, goes to ground, Those are fairly, self-explanatory. Anyway, a day of draws. Put up a Twitter poll about draws and ties. Should the NHL ever consider bringing back actual ties? Right? Mm-hmm. Do we want ties back? And 70-30 on no. Don't bring ties back.
They don't want them?
No. Soccer and hockey. I mean, hockey used to have ties routinely. As we went through it, you don't really remember any ties.
Not really.
Owen and Joe Kelly were not really coherent
Vaguely.
of a coherent age for ties either.
Yeah, vaguely. I mean, their last tie was in 2004. Yeah, fall of 2004. So I'm 9 years old when that occurs. I mean, I probably was watching. So I'm sure I would. There was no. That's the thing about tie. Never going to have a memorable tie, right?
They even got rid
Not
of
in hockey.
They even got rid of ties in Olympic hockey, where we went to 3-on-3 overtime in the group stages, right?
Yeah.
Or was that just in the medal round?
No, that was group stage 2, I think. Yeah, I think they played.
Maybe not. No, maybe not. It was only once you got to the 2026 men's tournament. They didn't go to. No, you're right.
I don't remember any overtimes.
You're right. There's no ties. Overtime.
I am good with it if it comes after overtime. If you play a longer overtime. Go 10 minutes 3-on-3. If you haven't scored by then, it's a tie. We're done. We're not doing this any longer. And honestly, what would take longer? 5 more minutes of continuous 3-on-3, or let's stop overtime, let's have the coaches put their cards in, and let's go do a shootout. Probably would take less time to do the 5-minute addition 3-on-3, and I can't imagine you're going to have it all that often, that you would go 10 minutes without a goal being decided. I bet ties would be incredibly rare if you did that. Go 10 minutes 3-on-3. You're rarely going to have ties, and I don't think it's going to actually take more time than a shootout would take.
Yeah, I don't think ties are the enemy. The enemy is what do we want? We want to be entertained. We don't want to watch these teams skate around for 5 minutes of 3-on-3 and not shoot the puck.
Right.
We've talked about the over and back rule. You can't bring it out over the blue line or the red line. A million different ways to do it. All these conversations stem from the idea that the NHL is not going to go back to ties. I just don't think they would. So 3-2-1 scoring systems in there as well. There is, speaking of hockey, there is a new name in the trade market. You guys want to fire up juicy rumors?
A new name.
In the trade market. An all-star player.
Is this morning?
Yeah, I saw it today.
Okay.
8 a.m. yesterday. This would have been from Frank Saravelli, I guess, on the 11th. I didn't hear Frank link this name. Maybe we've talked about it. I don't think so.
Who am I missing here?
Boone Jenner.
Okay.
I don't think we talked about Boone Jenner.
We didn't, but somebody, I think it was Jeff Merrick, somebody on our show brought him up.
So
as an idea because of him was he the captain?
Frank Saravelli
of Columbus when Yarmo was there?
Yeah. Linked Columbus captain Boone Jenner to the Leafs. Speculation gaining traction. Speaking on the Frankly Speaking podcast, Saravelli pointed directly toward Toronto as a highly logical destination for Boone Jenner.
Okay. Well, if you want to get in that game, he is still fine. He's going to solve one problem for you, or he's going to help one problem for you that you might be looking to improve, which is faceoffs. He's probably taking all your important draws going forward if he's on your team. If he's on the Sabres, at least.
He is a 33-year-old unrestricted free agent.
Yep.
Cap hit last year of 3.75.
Yep, he shouldn't cost a ton.
13 goals in 67 games last year.
Yeah, fine player. If that is a move they make this offseason, it'll be I wish they did something bigger, but I'm good with that. Assuming it wouldn't cost.
Well, whose job does he take? Every move we're talking about for the Sabres.
He's taking McLeod's job.
Okay, so he's in, McLeod's out?
I mean, someone can't play center anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that might be the guy. How badly do they really think they need to address faceoffs? Would be my question. There are a couple things without Tuck or without any of these big trade ideas, there's a couple things they need to improve. You'd like them to. Faceoffs, third pair D, and power play. And how much do you want to attack those niche needs? Can I call them niche needs, or are they more than that? Because I could say, hey, Boone Jenner, come solve my solve my face-off problem. But I don't know how good you are otherwise. You're okay. Pat Kane, come solve my power play problem. I'm not sure how good you are at everything else at this point. Third pair defenseman A, come solve my 12-minute-a-night guy problem. I'm not sure how badly you want to attack that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Not quite luxury need, but it is definitely down the line of, who's going to...
You could argue power play is different than that.
Yeah, for sure.
That, there's a difference between going and getting a guy because he's a face-off specialist and going and getting a guy because he's a power play specialist. In my mind, power play specialist, much more valuable than face-off specialist.
Juicy rumors here. Have seen the Sabres linked to, ready for this one, Mats Zuccarello?
No. Wait, you're saying they have been?
He's a UFA. He's 36.
Yeah, old.
Be a veteran.
He is good still. He's putting up points at least.
Yeah, his 54 points, 59 games for Minnesota last year. UFA.
I mean, that is free agency this go-round is Tuck and then a lot of old guys.
And Tuck is, eventually going to be an old guy.
Eventually, but...
That's free agency.
Zuccarello.
Isn't that always free agency?
Zuccarello is 36 years old. He just had a 50-something point season.
Yeah.
Old guys can produce. By the way, when I say power play specialist, I don't want to go at any power play specialist. The top two guys on that list in free agency are Kane and Laine. Those guys might not be able to do anything for you at 5-on-5 anymore, but they might fix your power play.
Do the Sabres have the space for a power play specialist?
I don't know. Do you mean the room financially or the room in the lineup? Because I could make room. I think I wouldn't just want to add one. I think I'd want to replace Zucker with a guy like that. That would be
cheaper. You'd hope.
Cheaper, or maybe the equivalent of it. Maybe it's still a 1-year thing. Zucker's a good player, but would you rather Jason Zucker not be as good at 5-on-5 if he was way better on your power play?
Yeah, you might take it.
I think I would probably take it. So if you find a guy like that and you want to move him, I don't think that's the worst idea in the world.
That's one thing we're not talking about the young kids like Kulik and Östlund and Helenius.
Yeah.
Which of them help you on the power play?
I think Kulik almost sounds like the guy that... I mean, really all three. Östlund had bad numbers on the power play last year. He got a chance at it in all of the scoring chance numbers and expected goals. When he's on the ice, their power play was bad. Worse than without him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. His skill set seems like a guy that would help you. I imagine the other two are on your number one unit someday if they're good. Helenius and Kulik, if they're good players, they should be on your number one unit at some point. And maybe that's next year. I'm good moving Norris out of his spot. He played all year on that right flank. Couldn't shoot the puck. He's not an elite passer across the ice. And if you want to put Kulik over there or Helenius, I think that's a totally reasonable idea.
803-0550, 1-888-550-2550.
Ovechkin also listed here as a UFA. He could be a power play specialist at this point.
Is that let's get stupid territory?
Yes. That's stupid, all capitals, STUPID.
What is stupid about it?
The idea that he would play for someone that isn't Washington, and that it would be, no offense to the Sabres, they made the playoffs and they're in a better shape. He's not coming to the Buffalo Sabres.
He's always dreamed of it.
We've got one photo of him in a Sabre jacket.
He dreamed of it. You think it's stupid because he wouldn't or they wouldn't?
He wouldn't.
And would you celebrate the move with a parade?
Oh, I would.
It would be amazing.
Yes.
Power play specialist.
It would be one of the greatest moments ever. He did only have 5 power play goals last year, by the way. But historically, he's like the best that we've ever seen at it.
How many Sabres players had more than 5 power play goals last year?
I mean, it must be one. It must be at least one.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They had 5.
5?
They had
Okay.
5 guys with more than 5 power play goals.
Zucker had more.
He had 10.
I just said he's not that good on the power play. And he probably led them in goals in the power
He
play?
did. He had 10. 10
All
of his
right.
24 goals came on the power play.
Did Tage get to 5?
6.
Barely. Did Norris didn't, right?
Nope.
Did Dahlin?
6.
Okay. Doan?
9.
9. He didn't even spend the whole year there.
Mm-hmm.
How many more?
1 more.
Who else spent time on the number 1 unit? Benson did, but he didn't score that many. Did Oslin didn't? Who is it?
Tuck.
Tuck did?
7.
He didn't spend any time all year on the number 1 unit.
7 power play goals.
And he had 7 power play goals?
He was 3rd on the team in power play goals.
Should they have put him on it at some point?
There's your list of players with more power play goals than Ovechkin.
Last year, at least.
Last year.
I mean, he has the most ever. Otherwise, 331. Yeah, that's
the previous year. Zucker had 11. Zucker's led them in power play goals 2 years in a row. We sure he's easily expendable?
But like the difference there is that is good and that's valuable. But who is he on the power play? He's my net front guy. He's the guy standing in front of the net. He's cashing in rebounds. That's not nothing, but I'd like to believe I could replace that a lot easier than who's playing where Norris does, where I want that guy to be able to kind of drive it. I want him to be the puck carrier. I want him to be able to move the puck across the ice easily, one-timers. Like that is a money spot. And no offense to Zucker, but I feel like if I just threw Josh Doan in front of the net next year, he might be able to do the same exact thing. Benson in front of the net. Like I feel like I have guys that I could put in Zucker's spot and probably do the same thing. Whereas I do not feel like they have a guy to play opposite of Tage and be dangerous. Unless Norris is going to return to what he did in Ottawa. Because he was that. He was that player in Ottawa, and he was not that last year for the Sabres at all.
Get a call in here. Mike in the car. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Hey, guys, morning. I was going to talk about Zucker to start with. He had 10 power play goals last year. But you guys would just address that. My point is that you look at Carolina's power play in the playoffs, and I think a lot of it had to do with their face-off guy, Stahl. You win draws when you get a power play in the offensive zone. That's 20, 25 seconds that's added to your power play instead of losing it and then going down the ice, and now you got to regroup. And I think a face-off guy, you bring him in, he takes the draw. You win the draw. Get him off the ice if he's not a real offensive player, because you've got possession of the puck, which, as we know, power plays are all about possession of the puck. And if you're chasing the puck once or twice, I mean, every time the goalie makes the save and holds onto the puck, there's another face-off. You don't have anybody that can get out there and win a draw. You're in a situation where you're chasing the puck again. And I think a face-off guy will really help our power play.
Yeah, that is I think absolutely right. And I don't know, maybe that's Jenner. We just talked about him. Like, you wanted him to be the answer on that. But they did struggle to bring the puck into the zone, and you're right. Like, every face-off you lose, it's just one more time you got to do it. So I hear that.
It's a frustrating year on face-offs. Felt like they lost a bunch. Playoffs especially. Like, there were long stretches, you know?
Yep. Oh, there were games where they lost. They would lose like 25-5.
David in Cheektowaga next up. Hey, David.
Hey, guys. How you doing? Short and sweet. I just want to say I feel like the most expendable players right now on the roster that we can try to move to save some cap space and make it easier for our future and possibly re-sign Tuck if you do this is Quinn, Norris, and Oh, I just lost his name. Quinn, Norris, and there's one other forward I was thinking of.
McLeod?
But I want to lock. Yes, McLeod. Thank you. Yes, McLeod. That's the one that I'm thinking. Those three. The amount of money we're paying them three. That's a lot of money we can use right now with the cap going up. And I like them three guys, but I feel like they're kind of peaked out. I don't think they're going to really do much better than what they've already done. I feel like the production you're going to lose from Tuck is going to outweigh any one of those three guys. And I feel like the new production coming in, at least how it looks momentarily, Kulik, Osland, and Helen look like, man, that three can plug in your top 6 to top 9 for sure. And then you got Benson and Doan looking great. I mean, we got to kind of, not to be a Kevin Adams homer here, we kind of got to sit a little bit and not go too crazy just to kind of give it, like, I think this season coming up, at least to the trade deadline, to see what we got with some of these young guys and then possibly make moves at the trade deadline unless the whole thing capsizes before that, but I don't anticipate that happening. But I'm just saying, I think those other three veterans are probably the most expendable. I like Zucker's leadership qualities, and he's still producing. So I feel like, we can probably give him, he's got one more year, I think, on his deal, right? So let's see how he does. And, I just feel like if we can get rid of the Norris contract, that's just a big lead weight right now, man. He hasn't proven he can play more than really 60 games in a season, and his production did drop off. I just hope they can make some moves here just to kind of secure the youth moving forward and, maybe add a veteran winger if Tuck does end up going. But I do not want to give up the big three, the big five, really. I call it big five with Benson and Doan and then Kulik, Osland, Helen. But that's just my point, guys.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, really, what you want to do is you want to figure out who your core and who your nucleus is. And
which you already know. I mean,
yeah, like I think some might think McLeod and Norris are like on the edge of that, and I just think that they are probably outside of it.
And I think McLeod is infinitely more tradable, possibly more valuable, and also, I mean, could I say I could recover from his loss more easily than Norris? Norris, they got good when Norris got healthy. That's when the season turned around. Like,
I think that lines up.
What's their record with Norris? Really good.
Yeah.
He wasn't always the best player on the team or best player on the ice, but I'd want to look at their record with Norris and just count up wins and losses. They were a very good. Once they got healthy is when things started to turn around. Like, Darlene was missing time. Norris missed time.
Yeah, he came back he got hurt the first game of the year. He came back on December 1st.
And they got good on December 9th.
Right. Yeah, they lost 3 of the first 4 that he was in, and then they won 10 in a row.
So let's do their record with Norris versus their record without Norris. Listen, I understand the contract is kind of big, not that big. If he played 60 games a year, he played this year in 44 games, which is not a lot. But if he played in 60 games a year for $8 million at the player he was, you might think that that's actually close to fine.
Yeah.
You have the record with and without
I think
yet?
I've got it at 31, 10, and 3.
With Norris in the lineup.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was...
How much am I attributing that to him, though? I don't want to say none. It's definitely not none.
Definitely not all of it, but like he returned, and it was a big part of what they became. And in the playoffs, he's on a line where the other two guys were doing great.
Yeah.
And he didn't get any credit. Benson and Doan both became revelations in this postseason, largely playing with him, a little bit playing with Osland when he was hurt too, and Osland looked great. Mm-hmm. And then Norris is on the ice in Game 6 in Boston, which is like the Benson-Doan game.
Yeah.
I don't think that contract or what – like maybe the Norris contract is a great example of what Tuck's contract would be, which is I don't think that that's any sort of lead weight around you holding you down. It's not a perfect contract. You might want some flexibility, but I don't think it's a major problem for them.
19, 13, and 6, by the way, without him in the lineup, which is still fine, but it's definitely, it's more losses.
It's 500.
It's
19 and 19.
Right.
Kind of.
Yeah, so the 579 point percentage when he wasn't in and a 739 point percentage when he wasn't.
And I'm not at all saying it was only him, but
yeah,
that to me sounds like a player that I wouldn't call expendable. He might be difficult to trade. He might be a player you don't want to trade.
His value was, he was a better playmaker than I thought he'd ever be. He set a career high in assists. He missed half the year, and he set a career high in assists. He had a 63-point pace over 82 games. He might never play 82 games his entire career, so maybe that's just, lunacy to even bring up. But 63-point pace, did it feel like it, is different, though, because I think maybe he would be one of these guys where I'd want to argue on his behalf, almost maybe like Power, where like Power can have these excellent games where you don't even notice him, or he just doesn't even come up. That's kind of how I felt about Norris's season. Like, I feel like I didn't really notice him all that much, but he definitely had a good year. Like, the points are there, the playmaking is there. Defensively, that's actually maybe where I noticed him the most. Him coming back on back checks was noticeable. Like, he would fly back and break up odd man rushes countless times, and it happened in the playoffs. No, like, the conversation with him is just strictly he might be one injury away from being done.
He might.
Him more than others.
He might.
Because he just cannot play. He's been in the league for 7 years now, and you mentioned like 60 games. He's done that one time.
Right.
In 7 years.
But he is your current number one center.
He really didn't do it all year, right?
I know, but
Tage was their number one center.
Just be careful. But we're talking about, like, what should we do? Like, you got to get that number one center out of here.
He's not their number one center. Tage is their number one center, or somebody else that isn't on the team right now is their number one center. Like, he's their number two. I'm not going to knock him too much.
Is Hellenius their number one center?
I think long term he's a better idea for that.
Did you see? There's a stat out there. Now that the playoffs are over, Jay Fresh Hockey had the chance creation stats from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I saw who was at the top. Like, Marner was at the top, wasn't he?
No. Number one in chance creation. This is chances or chance assists.
Yeah.
Number one was Nathan McKinnon. Not surprising.
Not surprising at all.
Number two.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Yep.
Consta the Monster.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, Hellenis, just start saying Consta, then trip over this name, trying to say Helen.
I think I've got it.
I've got it.
I got that Y after the.
I've got it.
I
I just like, I'm so focused on trying to get it right that I sometimes get it wrong. Consta, he finished number one in the entire NHL in chances.
Mm-hmm. In the postseason. Per 60.
Right. What?
All right.
Number one in chances.
By a pretty good margin, by the way. You know who's number 3?
Alex Tuck.
Alex Tuck was number 3, by the way. But yeah, he was number 1. Yeah, I mean, I think long term he is more likely to be their number 1 center. I think the ceiling is higher. And I just don't know that Norris is going to make it. I don't.
I agree, but other teams don't know that either, which is probably
why you can't trade him. Probably
right. Which, you know what, it might even be. This is a very rough comparison, but it's the same. I feel like you're living in the same world. It's Keon Coleman. I could dump him for less than he's worth, or I could hope that it works here. And in the case of Norris, right, I could dump him for less than he's worth because teams aren't going to want to give up a lot for a guy they can't count on to be healthy, or I can just be the team that takes that risk instead of taking pennies on the dollar.
And honestly, just even accept, like, all right, we're here, he's on the team, right? Like, what you might come to a decision which says he's not worth a lot because of the injuries. So what would I rather have? I can get him at 10 cents on the dollar, or I can say, you know what? If he only plays 50 games, but he's really good in the 50 games, I'll just take that.
Yeah.
And I'll say, you know what, that's fine.
I kind of get to that spot.
Like, it's not ideal, but it's probably better than the alternative.
And it doesn't mean I wouldn't move off him. I think McLeod is so much easier to envision them trading because of all these things we just mentioned.
Is it, you're talking about let's get stupid. Is it let's get stupid to say that they should do like an NBA load management plan with him? Is that the dumbest thing in the world? Manage it. Schedule games he's not going to play. Because if that is his only thing to be that worried about, which I would like him to be better on the power play. But otherwise, like, I liked his game last year. If I can just get him healthy and manage that, like, I would even say pre-schedule the games he's going to be off, if that helps. Maintenance days.
You've got depth.
They have 9 centers going into next year. They can absolutely afford to say, yeah, once a week once every 2 weeks even, he's going to take off.
When we return, you might hate the Hurricanes. It's really tough to hate the thing that Rod the Bod snuck into their locker room for the entire season. If you don't know that story, stay tuned. how confident would he be that this team is just going to be back and competing for a Stanley Cup? How many teams would you feel better about that for?
Probably
Not
a couple,
not
but
even,
not
but better. Just that.
Yeah.
I mean, we point out a couple times last couple weeks, Mike Greer left after 05-06 and questioned commitment to winning. Right? It was a great team, and it was commitment to winning. He questioned their commitment to winning. And
he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
A year later, he was
right.
right.
He was right to do that. And I don't know that Alex Tuch's about to do that with this team, but, there's a million variables. And let's talk about that from a Sabres fan perspective. How confident are you that what we just saw wasn't, and I'm going to use a phrase here that someone in the chat on YouTube used yesterday, a good 5 months, and instead of that was really, okay, no, this is the culmination of what Kevin Adams was building. It's going to be good here. And if Tuch wanted to stay and Jarmo wanted him here, then he would feel good about his chances to win. Versus if Florida calls or Tampa calls.
Or Colorado.
Would you instantly feel like, wow, I mean, come on, it's Colorado. Come on, it's Tampa. Come on, it's Florida. Mm-hmm. They're more likely to stay in the mix, even though Florida just had a down year. Florida calls Alex Tuch, like, hey, we'd like to have you on board.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of those teams, I think you just mentioned most of them that would fit. Like maybe Dallas would as well. But and maybe why you're not hearing many of them mentioned is I don't know that they have the ability to give him the contract that is they might be in the same place that the Sabres are. Like, hey, we'd be interested, and we might be able to figure out a way to give you like a $9.5 million a year contract. But if you want to go up towards like $11 million, like that's not going to be us. It probably would have to be one of those teams that are closer to the bottom.
All right, maybe you've seen the story about the Carolina Hurricanes, and what Rod Brindamore did is an all-time sneaky coach, did a cool thing. And if in your darkest of hearts that hates the Hurricanes, if you hate them deep,
Yep.
this is one of those ones where it's tough. It's like you saw them petting puppies or something. Rod Brindamore put a cinder block in the gym, but it was heavier than a normal one. 37 pounds. He had that's the story. He had a 37-pound block or whatever in the weight room. And he told the players, when you're working out, I want you to lift that thing up over your head, and I want you to remember all the people that have helped you along the way. It's a blue-collar lift. We're doing our blue-collar lifts. You tell the players you're doing blue-collar lifts. Lifts it up above your head. Boom, that cinder block's up. You're off the treadmill. You're walking through. Give me that blue-collar lift. Boom. Put it over your head. Come to find out it's the exact weight as the Stanley Cup, and the guys were practicing lifting the Stanley Cup.
Did they not know that the whole time?
They did not know that because he convinced them that the blue-collar lift was a thing.
And he made that up.
We're doing it to celebrate the people in our lives that have helped us. Yep. Is it impossible to hate him for that?
I don't have to hate him for that.
He tricked his players into lifting a brick.
So what you're saying is he's a liar.
35 pounds.
He lied.
He built a culture. Speaking of that.
He built a culture on lying.
Oh, well. Hey. Quote, Bill Burniston, conditioning coach. We call it our blue-collar press. I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood. One of the most important jobs is the mason. The mason builds the foundation of buildings, your homes, what have you. Basically, what we ask guys to do is one press and think of those blue-collar moments that got them here and somebody that's helped you get there.
It's a cool story.
It's good.
It's a cool story. They've been doing this for years. Things that they've done that make me want to like them. They've tried. The bunch of jerks thing, the social media accounts. I guess this works for that as well.
The blue-collar
press or the blue-collar lift?
Blue-collar lift.
Cinder block. Kind of dangerous also, isn't it? Your players are constantly lifting a cinder block over their head.
It's not bad. Speaking of like lies or games.
Speaking of
lies or games, I just thought of something real quickly. Like on the Bill Squad show yesterday, talking with Jerry Ostrowski and Joe Marino. Jerry was talking about like Joe Brady's going to get tested early by players. And he's the head coach now. You were the OC.
Right.
Now you're the head coach. Something's going to come up. It's going to test the coach, whether it's discipline, a player's late to a meeting. Like something's going to happen. And the coach is going to have to decide in that moment, what do you do? Mm-hmm. And I said, should they stage something?
Stage
something.
It. What are we staging?
Oh, and you've been around teams that have done something. For instance,
staging something.
You just have to do a thing where, like, listen, you bring DJ Moore into your office, like, hey, I want you to be late to the first wide receiver meeting, or third receiver of the meeting. You're going to be late, and I'm going to tear into you because you and I have worked together. You and I we're good, and I need these guys to know that I'm in charge here. I'm the head coach, and they got to see a veteran. They got to see somebody being called out. Like, that's not okay. You're better than that. And everybody sees it. It's a performance. And then they all go back to about their jobs. And the young guys see, like, man, DJ Moore just got a little bit of the coach's ear.
Interesting.
I'm just saying, like, if you wanted to do it as a coach, I'm sure coaches, administrators have played, have waded in these waters before of a show.
For sure. I have seen it, and I've seen it backfire.
Well, if it gets caught, it backfires.
That's when it becomes a real...
You got to sign an NDA.
Right. I have been in a locker room where the coach has done something like that, and then that guy is a blabbermouth and goes like, hey, I was really just part of a little act that you guys all just felt.
See.
And then that coach is...
Then that guy gets caught. You're caught.
Right.
Now, actually, then I go to the team and I say, that was the test.
Right.
Can I trust you?
Yes.
You blab, you're out.
Well,
let that be a lesson to all of you.
That,
I 3D chess played this.
Yeah. Didn't a GM once well, this is a little different. Didn't a GM once give a bunch of leaks to people in the office to see which would make it out to the media to figure out like who was leaking stuff?
Oh yeah,
I remember. Yeah, that's a cool move.
Who did that? Somebody did that.
I know what you're talking about too. And
That's kind of the same thing. You're planting things to learn.
Was that a Belichick thing? It might have been Belichick.
Maybe it was.
I mean, Belichick was given credit for every single thought he had.
That's a good point.
Like, oh, look what he's doing. He knew it. He did it again.
Yeah. He's not getting that credit anymore, though.
Not so much.
No,
Not so much.
Now he's getting told what to do.
It was at UNC. It was Belichick involved in the fake with the GM there. I think.
Speaking of Belichick, did you see the DraftKings graphic that they sent out yesterday?
Ooh, no.
I don't. You know these betting accounts, like they'll send out like some crazy stuff to like get clicks. This might be the craziest one I've ever seen. I never get trapped into these. There was a graphic that I couldn't believe. It was talking about how many surprising things have happened so far this year. And then it was 6 things that could happen this year, the rest of the season, that would be surprising. And the Bills got thrown into a list of things that are ridiculous. And one of them is the Bills winning the Super Bowl, which is not ridiculous, right? At all. USA winning the World Cup.
Not the same as the Bills, right?
LeBron going to Oklahoma City. If you're a basketball fan, that's not happening. The Guardians winning the World Series. Not likely. And then the other 2 are Belichick winning a national championship. Not the same as the Bills winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And then the 6th one was the Savannah Bananas joining Major League Baseball.
Wow. All right, well.
Also,
you know what?
Not the same, not the equivalent as the Bills winning the Super Bowl.
Bulletin board. Put it on the bulletin board. They don't take you seriously.
No, they think it's as likely as the Bananas joining Major League Baseball.
Big event, the 11-day power play getting started. We've got all the info for you when we return, top of the hour. It's the World Cup of Joe. Its return to the airwaves. Jeremy White here for AAA.
Do you think they could see any more from Ellis than maybe someday being just the third guy, Paul? Like, would you guess more than 14 starts for him next year if they had it their way?
Who knows? I mean, he could come into training camp and be the best goaltender by far, and all of a sudden wind up in the net. Or like last year, all of a sudden you came in training camp, you thought, all right, Luukkonen was the number 1. They thought Luukkonen was the number 1. Well, he comes to training camp with an injury. So now Lions starts X amount of games to start the season. And then they get into the alternating situation, which worked for them. I don't see like alternating and having 3 goalies in the equation doing that. But you know, I think they may look back at the alternating situation. I know for a fact Lindy Ruff liked it. And whichever 2 goaltenders at the time are, you know, I think it would be Luukkonen and Lyon to start if all 3 are healthy. But if you get an injury in training camp or something like that, you might get in the alternating situation, and there might be Ellis and the guy who's healthy to do it. And then Ellis might pull a Bussy. And all of a sudden, you know, he's got some NHL experience and is getting an opportunity to play on a regular basis. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's showing why Kevin Adams really thought a lot of him and brought him into the organization and wouldn't let him go. And then Yarmo wouldn't let him go either. And they wound up with the 3 goaltenders. So, you know, it's one of those situations. And I guess I'm saying what you guys have already said, that just don't sleep on the guy. I mean, if he gets an opportunity, he might take advantage of it.
And wouldn't you think these 2 will get traded at this point? Like, that's kind of how I feel that it sounds about the 2.
I think Larkin definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah.
And which one of the 2 is more likely for the Sabres to land if both were open to coming here? Like, who would you take? Who would Yarmo want? Hellebuck?
I don't know.
Who's tighter with
not-
Tage? Which Team USA teammate of Tage Thompson?
Not having a single rumor about them connected to anybody kind of leaves you in the dark on what they are prioritizing.
Yeah.
What would they prefer? Star goalie or number one center? Not just star goalie, like the goalie in the league that you could acquire. I don't know. Like, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what Kekalainen thinks of Luukkonen. That's really the starting point, right? Like, if he believes in him as a number one, despite the playoffs, then he probably thinks, what do I need Hellebuck for? And Larkin you would want no matter what if you're a team, I think. Like, you can plug him in to even a very strong forward group, and he'll make you better. So, like, I think there would definitely be some level of wanting Larkin, whereas Hellebuck, I feel like it could be he either loves the idea or he just would have zero interest in it at all. I don't think anybody could have zero interest in Larkin if he was on your list.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah. Jeremy and Joe, good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Nice day on the way. Some rain showers in the next couple days, it would appear. But coming up, of course, happens every year, the 11-day power play. This year, the Community Shift. Joining us in studio, Amy Gold, Executive Director and co-founder of the 11-day power play. Good to see you again. Welcome back. And happy anniversary, 10 years.
10 years, yes. We
Wow.
are back for our 10th year, and we're super excited to hit the ice tomorrow.
Does it feel like 10 years?
It's been a whirlwind. When we started this thing, it was supposed to be a one-time event, and here we are 10 years later. I mean, Buffalo's embraced it, and we're very proud of it, proud of our community.
Yeah. And the Community Shift, of course, like this version of the power play, all the way back to the one 10 years ago. I can remember being there in Harbor Center when you guys set the world record. And I'd imagine the interest was so high that realizing like, oh, we'll just have everybody do it because everybody wants to skate.
We did. We recovered from that event. We're not event people, right? We weren't at that time. So it took us a while to recover. We were sitting at the beach over in Canada, and how can we get more people involved, and kind of came up with the idea of having 2 new teams come in every 4 hours.
Yeah.
We've decreased that to 3 hours so that we could accommodate more teams. It was just so popular.
So what's the slate? What's the timeline for things this year?
So we drop the puck tomorrow at 6 a.m., and we will play nonstop for 11 straight days into June 28th, Sunday.
Beautiful.
It is incredible how many, like everybody I know that plays at this point, plays hockey on it. Like, they're involved in this in some way.
My family's in this tournament. Yeah, every year.
Do you know how many players?
We have 2,800 this year.
2,800. That is incredible. What's the goal this year for money and how close for raising money and how close we might be at this point?
So our goal is 1.7 million, and we're inching up on 1.3. So we need some help.
Okay.
And anyone that wants to help can go to 11daypowerplay.com. There's a nice donate button right there on the homepage, and stop down as well and cheer on the players. They've worked really hard fundraising all year. And tonight we have our celebration, opening celebration with our top 60 fundraisers that hit the ice. And Dan Dunleavy will be there from the Sabres doing play-by-play. And we've got Sabretooth and our mascot, PD Powerplay, fun family activities going on. And it's free and open to the public.
Yeah, our GR team's at 21 grand, I believe. Keith Waldron, our former president's raised 10,000 so far himself. So 35,000 for us, and we're playing next Tuesday. So you can come watch us next week at 6. Although Owen will not be playing because he's on the injury report with a lower body injury is what it's listed as.
A non-hockey related injury. He got hit by a golf cart. And that's it really happened, so Owen cannot be in net for that. All right, so 6 a.m. tomorrow to get started, over 2,800 skaters. And then, if people want to volunteer, are there still spots to volunteer? Because we think about all the players that are going to be on the ice, and then there's got to be so much more to get done off the ice that you need help with.
Oh my gosh, we need more than 300 volunteers every year. And a lot of our volunteers will do multiple shifts, which is really incredible. They're very dedicated. But things happen, and sometimes a volunteer can't show. And, we do end up with some openings. So if anybody's interested, we still have applications on our website for volunteering at 11daypowerplay.com. And anyone's welcome to apply there. And obviously, this is a yearly event, so if you want to get involved next year, we will have our applications open for volunteering next year around March.
And one thing we've had the honor of doing is going through Roswell Park and some of the places, the rooms, the labs, the things that have been built that have been basically funded by the 11-day power play. It's the conceptual idea of raise money, help us raise money, and then there's walk into this building and that's what you've built.
Yes, it's the community has supported this event, and because of that support, we've been able to open the 11-day power play Cancer Resource Center at Roswell Park. And, they always had a resource center, but very small, not easily accessible. And when they approached us, it was a no-brainer. I mean, everyone in the family is affected, and we wanted to support families and the patients. And that Resource Center is 11-day branded. You walk in, you see the players on the ice pictures, our jerseys hanging, and I get calls all the time from patients thanking the 11-day for that resource. It's a great, safe place to go, learn about your cancer, and get the support you need throughout your journey.
So puck drop tomorrow, 6 a.m. through June 28th, all at Harbor Center, and free to attend. Anybody can come by. You guys will have swag, gear, all that stuff available too?
Oh, absolutely. It's our 10th year, and we are selling our jerseys that we accumulated over the 10 years for $35. It's the first time we've done that, and that's for, part of our celebration of our 10 years.
Perfect. There's 2 jerseys I think I'm missing, so that'll be a good opportunity for me. There've been some good jerseys over the years. I have a green one, I think. I mean, really, there's all different colors throughout the years, right?
Yeah, so in 2020, we wanted to celebrate all cancers. So we had different color jerseys.
Right.
So you were fighting for lymphoma with that color. But every year, our players look forward to seeing the jersey because we change it up. We have to. So they collect them, and it's a new jersey that will first be seen tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Awesome. 6 a.m. tomorrow. And again, benefits Roswell Park Cancer Research Center, Make-A-Wish of Western New York, and Camp Good Days. Amy, thanks for coming in, and best of luck this year. Have a great event.
Thank you. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing you guys down there.
All right. 803-0550 to join us. We're going to break in. We got the World Cup of Joe, which debuted yesterday, and by popular demand will be returning. We can learn some fun facts about countries like a town inside an active volcano and
the bug,
largest insect.
It was the size of your hand.
New Zealand had the largest insect.
Yeah. The giant Ouida.
Yeah, it was pretty messed up that I had to see that, but we'll see what today brings coming up. How confident would he be that this team is just going to be back and competing for a Stanley Cup? How many teams would you feel better about that for?
Probably a couple,
not
but
even,
not
but better. Just that.
Yeah.
I mean, we point out a couple times last couple weeks, Mike Greer left after 05-06 and questioned commitment to winning, right? It was a great team, and it was commitment to winning. He questioned their commitment to winning. And
he was right.
Yeah, he was right.
A year later, he was
right.
right.
He was right to do that. And I don't know that Alex Tuch's about to do that with this team, but, there's a million variables. And let's talk about that from a Sabres fan perspective. How confident are you that what we just saw wasn't, and I'm going to use a phrase here that someone in the chat on YouTube used yesterday, a good 5 months, and instead of that was really, okay, no, this is the culmination of what Kevin Adams was building. It's going to be good here. And if Tuch wanted to stay and Jarmo wanted him here, then he would feel good about his chances to win. Versus if Florida calls or Tampa calls.
Or Colorado.
Would you instantly feel like, wow, I mean, come on, it's Colorado. Come on, it's Tampa. Come on, it's Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They're more likely to stay in the mix, even though Florida just had a down year. Florida calls Alex Tuch, like, hey, we'd like to have you on board.
Yeah. I mean, there are a couple of those teams, I think you just mentioned most of them that would fit. Like maybe Dallas would as well. But and maybe why you're not hearing many of them mentioned is I don't know that they have the ability to give him the contract that is they might be in the same place that the Sabres are. Like, hey, we'd be interested, and we might be able to figure out a way to give you like a $9.5 million a year contract. But if you want to go up towards like $11 million, like that's not going to be us. It probably would have to be one of those teams that are closer to the bottom.
A day of draws in the World Cup yesterday. Spain and Cabo Verde drew 0-0. Belgium and Egypt tied 1-1. Saudi Arabia and Uruguay drew 1-1. And Iran and New Zealand tied 2-2. Today, France takes on Senegal at 3 o'clock. Iraq plays Norway at 6. And Argentina plays Algeria at 9. This Friday, the U.S. men's national team takes on Australia at 3. Looking around the NFL, ESPN's Pete Thamel reports former Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby plans to enter the NFL supplemental draft. Sorsby has been the subject of numerous legal battles within the NCAA ranks amidst a betting scandal this offseason. In baseball, the Mets got shut out by the Reds 12-0 yesterday. Tonight, the Blue Jays play the Red Sox at 6:45. The Yankees, they host the White Sox at 7:05. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, with you for the extra mile since 1935. I'm Joe Cali for Western New York's Voice of the Fan, WGR.
Do you ever see a team going undefeated in the regular season?
162-0?
Yeah, like a team being that dominant. Do you think that could happen in baseball?
Yeah, you're not serious, right?
I'm bringing an online argument to the airwaves. I don't know if Brayton Wilson is listening. If he is, he can call in. I don't even like we could have him call and defend his idea here.
I got to hear this.
We're just going to talk it over.
What's happened?
So we opened the show with a simple concept. Hey, there were 4 ties in the World Cup yesterday. Think the NHL should bring back ties? Now, Brayton loves ties.
Yep.
He loves ties. He wants them to be ties. He wants more ties.
Okay. More ties.
He wants more ties. He thinks there should be ties in football. He probably wants ties in baseball. He's like ties. He likes ties. That's fine. He writes that, of course, should be a 3-2-1 point system. The NHL over time becoming more of a possession game with little no urgency.
Yeah.
If the teams tie, no points to either team.
If the teams tie, no points to either team? So that's a 3-2-1-0 more so, isn't it?
I think so. Keep it at 3-on-3. Expand the overtime to 10 minutes. Make teams play with urgency. Ample time to get a result. So if nobody scores, then nobody gets a point in overtime. Nobody scores in overtime.
But if someone scores in overtime, it's 2 for the winner and 1 for the loser?
I believe that's what he suggested.
If I'm at the end of a season, I need a point, I'm just going to score on my own net.
I actually suggested that. He said, no, we'd make that against the rules, just like pulling your goaltender in overtime is against the rules. To which then I said, okay, well, if there's 10 seconds left in the game and there's an odd man rush, I would say, let it in. We get a point.
Right. If I were defend, I would just pretend to fall down.
Right. The idea would be here. Listen, there are a lot of ideas out there for the NHL and the point system. The 3-2-1 is pretty much unassailable. But no, you shouldn't want a 60-minute hockey game that you just watched voided because nobody scored in a 10-minute overtime. All right, this has been Let's Get Stupid.
Yeah, I'm not with that idea. I'm not taking all points away if you don't score. Because you could easily sell, like, oh, I felt. Well, really, what you would want to do is like just start going 3-on-0s. And I'm not going to play defense.
I don't know I don't know what to do here with my life. The 3-2-1 point system rears its head again is obviously perfectly unassailable with no problems on any level.
I will say, like,
and there's always this idea to like, what if we do this instead? Like, we already have the perfect system,
right?
We're just not using it.
Well, that's where like Bettman's going to leave, and some new commissioner is going to come in, and he is going to change it. And the 3-2-1 point system is like perfectly good. A lot of people want it, and they will, because this is the NHL, and if they don't, change who they are too much after Bettman leaves, what will they do? They will do something else that will be stupidly comical and complicated, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll do something like, wait, that's weird. That doesn't make sense. They'll change it, and it will not be to just 3-2-1. There will be some other wrinkle or some other complication. Because they can never do anything perfectly the way you want it.
803-0550. Is it time for the World Cup of Joe?
It is time for the World Cup of Joe. I'm going to give you 8 facts, and you have to place them on the 8 countries that play today. And I'm counting midnight.
Yeah.
I know technically midnight is tomorrow.
There's 4 games today.
Yeah.
All right. So what?
So your nations that are playing today. 3 o'clock, France and Senegal. 6, Iraq and Norway. 9 o'clock, Argentina and Algeria. And then midnight, Austria and Jordan.
Okay.
France, Senegal, Iraq, Norway.
Now, just a rules clarification. Now you're going to deliver 8 fun facts. We have to match the fun fact with the country it applies to.
Yes.
You're not going for, like... You're just going for fun facts. I guess what I'm going for here is you're not trying to spin a fact that sounds very Norwegian that you found about Jordan.
Well, I do want facts that could be true of multiple countries.
Understandable.
Yeah. If I gave you, which country, this country has the Sahara Desert, you'd probably be able to figure that out from today.
Yeah, that's Algeria. Sure.
You're not going to try and throw through a loop with like a, Ian Sanders trick question that's not about France or something.
No, I wouldn't say anything is specifically deceptive.
Okay. All right. Let's get some facts here.
You could tell me if that's wrong. There's no deceptive in here. All right. First fact. Home to the oldest map in the world. That's fact number 1.
Yep.
Fact number 2. Capital city used to be called Philadelphia.
Okay.
Largest ice cave system in the world.
Okay.
Largest country on its continent.
Okay.
Home to the world's largest tunnel.
Largest tunnel. Okay.
Most time zones in the world.
All right. Not Argentina.
And wrestling is this country's national sport.
Wrestling.
Oh, I have one more. Therapy capital of the world. Most psychologists per capita.
Okay.
Those are your 8 facts. Now you must place them on the 8 countries that play today.
Yes, now we must place them. Wow.
Where do you want to start?
We had a couple. All right, let's get an easy one. Largest country on its continent seems like we could do it. We've got to be able to do it. Mm-hmm. Okay?
If you could picture a map, I think you should.
Right. We could picture a map. Can I? I am not allowed to look at a map.
No.
No.
I would say that would be cheating.
Give it the answer.
In that case, I think the answer is France.
Think about Europe.
It's Asia.
I
think the answer is France. It's the largest country on its continent. Algeria has a shot at this. I can't picture Algeria. No, I think it's France.
Okay.
I'm
trying to think, but I think you might be right.
I don't see. Yeah.
What's the biggest country in Europe? France is big.
It is the biggest country.
It's bigger than Spain.
Yeah.
It's bigger than. I think it's France.
It's France.
France.
Third biggest country in Europe.
It is. What's bigger?
Russia does count. There's a border where it turns to Asia. Just the European part of Russia is still the biggest. France is third.
I guess then it's Algeria?
Correct.
Okay.
Algeria is the largest country in Africa.
Okay. If I had looked at a map, I would have maybe. Well, that would be cheating, I guess. All right.
I think if you had looked at a map, you would have figured it out.
Yeah.
The bottom part of Algeria is massive because it's just all desert.
Gotcha. I still feel like France was a good guess.
I think that was the only, when I was picking a fact for Algeria, I think France was the only country you could have thought about for that other than Algeria.
Oldest map in the world.
Who is the home to the oldest map in the world?
I feel like there are candidates here, and I would lean towards Jordan and Iraq. With an honorable mention to Norway. Maybe the Vikings had a map.
Maybe. That actually is not.
Or Argentina, possibly.
Norway would be a
Fans taking over Boston, the Dutch in Dallas. Like it's pretty great to realize we watch the Olympics, and the Olympics are cool. This is better than the Olympics because everybody likes this sport. Everybody likes it. Everybody plays it. Everybody invests in it.
Yeah. It's the most participation globally.
Yeah. It's the world's biggest event.
Like, I love international hockey, but it does water it down. Right? Like,
there's 8 teams and only 4 of them matter.
That's it. Right. Soccer, you got 100.
Yeah.
But really, everybody does play, but like, how many are actually like decent at it?
And everybody cares. Like, the idea of expanding the tournament, which I think on some level got kind of poo-pooed that they made it bigger. And now that I see some of these smaller countries like Cabo Verde or whatever, or Curacao, like, oh, you have 165,000 people, but we want a soccer team to go play the world. Like, that's awesome.
Right.
It is the world. It's the best event, the World Cup.
Yeah, like
it's the world's best event, like, from a sports standpoint.
Yesterday, Cabo Verde, they draw Spain. That was the 67th ranked team in the world against the number 1 team in the world, and you got to draw. And sure, one team is vastly better than the other, but you could survive a whole game like that and draw. In hockey, the 67th ranked team in the IIHF is Indonesia. If they went on the ice against Canada, I don't think it would be a scoreless draw.
No, I don't think so either.
That so you have a lot more potential for competitive games for sure.
Yeah. I think it's just
it's the best.
It's an incredible event.
And I think it's worked. I think they're actually probably very happy with how it's going, expanding. Because a lot of the teams that would not have been in here that were like, Cabo Verde would have been one of them. Like, that team made it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bosnia would not have made it. They drew. New Zealand, or like, you just have a couple of these, Qatar. Some of these countries that are like way at the low end that so far through one game have answered the bell so far. How many blowouts have there been? Like, one?
Couple. U.S.
You just had Germany smoke Curacao.
U.S. blew out Paraguay.
Right.
Yeah.
Looking at it that way, all of these big clubs are having problems beating the little ones, and the U.S. just went out there. Like, does anybody look better than the U.S. so far?
Germany.
You would say Germany.
But that's probably because they played a team that was, Curacao.
But again, like, a lot of those, like, Spain did that, Switzerland did that. Like, they're playing teams worse than Paraguay, and they're not winning. So
I just think it's so great. Like, when they cut away to the stands, and here's a pocket of fans from Ghana, here's a pocket of fans from Algeria, traveling the country, traveling, into Canada, into Mexico. It's just such a cool event. So, back to it today. And the noon kickoff is who?
The noon, no, 3 o'clock.
France and Senegal. Not bad.
That game is in. Did you notice they're calling all the stadiums just by the location?
They have to.
They're not allowed, because I noticed that New York, New Jersey Stadium.
Right. It's like playing an old video game when they didn't have the rights. Levi Stadium is San Francisco Stadium. They covered over the Levi thing.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to say it.
You're right. They had to go around to all the stadiums and cover up the sponsor logos. There was one stadium they were not able to do that on. That was Atlanta, because it was too big. The whole top of the stadium is the Mercedes logo. So they could not physically, they're like, we just can't do it. There's not enough tarp in the world for us to cover that. But otherwise, I guess, they're just not allowed to. Atlanta, by the way, also home to, even in the World Cup, like the $3 food items.
I've seen a couple food items that are just not that bad.
Yeah.
Atlanta, too. And the food prices for the U.S. Open also came out at Shinnecock.
Okay.
I've never been to a U.S. Open.
Have you been to Shinnecock?
No.
It's in the state. Where in the state is it?
Long Island.
Okay.
I believe.
I have not been to a U.S.
Southampton.
Open either.
It's in Southampton.
I am in the lottery for the Open Championship next year, though, at St. Andrews.
I am in the lottery
There is a camping element to it. You can go to the Open Championship and camp for 5 days and get tickets to all of the...
Do you have to win the lottery for that, too? Or do you just buy
that? I don't know.
Yeah. I'm in the lottery for the Masters.
Wow, yeah. Good luck with that.
Did you get in this year?
The
lottery?
I'm in the lottery, yes. Did I get tickets? No, I did not get tickets yet.
Well, they haven't drawn yet. When do they draw? They draw soon. I feel like they draw in July.
Winning tickets to that would just be like... Because of how unlikely it is, I think it's more likely... What's more likely? That I will get a hole-in-one in my life or win Masters tickets?
Probably the hole-in-one.
Probably the hole-in-one.
Applications are open through June 20th.
Yeah, 4 days still if you're not
and
in.
then I'm in. Applications through June 20th, and payments are open through late July. So that means, in July, you find out if you're going to go to the Masters.
How many years have you been in it?
As long as I remember them doing a lottery.
Okay.
So
And nothing yet?
No. Do you see me wearing Augusta stuff?
No,
I'd be wearing it. I'd have a hat. My son has an Augusta shirt. Got it from like a hand-me-down or something. A little Masters gear.
If you win that lottery, does that take precedent over anything?
Like what?
Like a wedding.
Oh, it's on the calendar. Yeah.
Augusta.
Uh-huh.
Does it matter whose wedding it would be?
I mean, I've got to save that. I already know the date for the Masters. Sorry. You get married Masters weekend. You could have Googled that.
Like if my brother were to be getting married the week I won Masters tickets, I don't think I could go to Augusta.
It depends what day you got tickets. You can go Thursday. He's getting married on Saturday. Fly in, go Thursday, fly out Friday. You're doing both.
It's dangerous the way flights are these days. Getting
Drive.
canceled. Yeah.
I think it's my year.
Okay.
I think it's my year.
It's like a Jets fan walking into 2026. It's my year. We're winning the Super Bowl.
I'm Cabo Verde.
Right. Well, that one went okay.
They probably had a better chance at a draw against Spain than any one of us does about winning Augusta tickets.
Yes.
I feel it. It's my year. 803-0550 on my map searches here. Shinnecock, Cabo Verde. A lot of islands here. It was a Portuguese. Yeah, Portuguese Cabo Verde. How come it's not just Portugal then? Anyway.
It's its own country.
I mean, you know the story how like Balogun is only American because he was born here.
He was born in New York City because his parents were visiting.
And his mom was too pregnant to fly.
Yeah, she was 7 months pregnant,
yeah.
I think. I read about it.
Like here's the thing about Cabo Verde. Ronaldo was born on an island off of Portugal. He's not from the mainland. He's from Madeira. He's born on
that
island.
They named the airport after
so
him,
because they have that island, they have Ronaldo. It's not that different.
I mean, I wonder how many some of the U.S. players went on one of the late night shows this week, and I wonder how many viewers were stunned to hear like Robinson's English accent.
Yeah.
Or Dest, I think, has an accent too. Like, wait, this guy's on team. He sounds like he just came straight from Manchester.
I'm thinking of some version of when the NHL did that tournament was Team Europe.
Yes.
Of the remaining teams
Ralph
in Europe.
Kruger was the coach.
Yeah, and then you also had when there was the North American under-23 team.
Yep, TNA.
What if
TNA forever.
What if the World Cup just had a team where it's like collections of islands?
The island team.
All the islands.
Ooh.
If you're born on an island,
that's a good idea.
You're on this team. They'd have Ronaldo.
Like this, though, we'd be getting like into the weeds on what's an island. Like, oh, this guy was born on Grand Island. He wants to play for the island team.
Right. Jeremy and Joe, 803-0550 to join us on WGR. Paul, there are guys that could get moved, guys that could get signed. On Tuck, which of the two do you think is the bigger concern? And they go hand in hand, of course, but the bigger concern for Tuck, is it the AAV that there are reports Yarmo does not maybe want to get to double digits there, and Tuck could very well see double digits? Or would it be the term that would be the bigger concern? Joe and I went over the other day, like talking about this Carolina team. They have a lot of guys that are older. It's an old team. In their 30s, Jordan Stahl 37. Now, he's not making $11 million, but he did sign for a long-term deal and continues to play and be productive at 37. Would it be the term or the dollar amount that would be most concerning to you for Tuck?
Well, I wrote about this yesterday. I decided to really do a little bit of a dive into it because Tuck, I was listening to him when he said at his press conference on Locker Cleanout Day that, with sports science, and the Sabres have a really good guy in charge of performance now. And if you look at it and say to yourself, well, wait a minute, he's talking about, well, with sports performance and everything, things are different in the NHL. Look at the amount of guys who are producing at an older age. And I thought, and then you see Stahl, all of a sudden, at age 37, walk away the Conn Smythe. In the finals, he scores in 5 consecutive games. He was a 20-goal scorer this year at age 37. In 75 games, he had 20 goals. So I thought, all right, let me start looking at these older players in the NHL. And you got the two 41-year-olds. Brett Burns played every game for Colorado. Corey Perry had 17 goals in 17 games for Los Angeles and Tampa Bay at age 41. Ovechkin had 32 goals at age 40. Your 39-year-old is Evgeny Malkin, who had 61 points in 56 games. You had 4 guys who were 38. Crosby, who speaks for himself. Claude Giroux. Marchand is still 54 points in 52 games. Zuccarello in Minnesota had 54 points in 59 games. Those are your 38-year-olds who played this year. And even a guy like Stamkos, who was 36, scored 42 goals in 82 games. You want to go to the 35-year-old and Ryan O'Reilly, I bring him up because people know the name, 74 points in 81 games at 35 years. So it seems like nowadays in the NHL with the technology and the sports science, I mean, and Lindy Ruff listens to the sports science crew. I mean, they hardly practiced at all during the playoffs, and that was, talking with the sports science people that you don't need to be on the ice. It's better off to get your rest, or it's better off to be in the weight room, or it's better off to be in the gym, and it seemed to work for them too. So I'm starting to, because you know how staunch I've been. It's like you don't sign guys up to 38 years old, although I have said I think Tuck should be the exception for them. But with sports science and everything, I don't necessarily think 38 years old is a career death sentence anymore.
Bills 6th or 7th, and I can be swayed either or. So the teams I have comfortably ahead of them, I think the Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, the Denver Broncos, I think the New England Patriots. Where I hem and haw with them are the Los Angeles Chargers. I think Ladd McConkey has been better more recently than DJ Moore, but if you were to tell me DJ Moore has a better year, I'm open to that idea. Quentin Johnson had a resurgent year last year in year 3. Where do you compare that with Khalil Shakir?
Carl Jones, our buddy Carl Jones from Channel 4, ranking the AFC receiver cores 6th or 7th. New England better, no dispute.
Yep, I agree.
Cincinnati better,
Yes.
no dispute. Jacksonville,
I think so.
I do too. Houston, Nico Collins,
yeah.
better.
Jaden Higgins is a good player.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'll ever get anything from Tank Dell again, but he's nice.
Denver better. Probably.
Denver is Waddle, Sutton, Troy Franklin.
Better.
Yeah. He said he was flirting with the Chargers there. I might not go there with the Chargers. I actually was reading a lot about the Chargers for fantasy reasons, that Ladd McConkey might, like, his snap count might go way down because McDaniel is going to come in and do a lot of 2 tight ends.
Mm-hmm.
And when they have 2 receivers on the field, again, you're trying to read tea leaves from minicamp, but like the Chargers beat guys are like, you could see a lot of Quentin Johnston and Trey Harris, who they picked in the 2nd round last year, being like the 2 receivers on the field a lot. They're not going to never play McConkey because he's so good, but he might not have a full-time role like he did last year.
If you are down on Ladd McConkey in a fantasy league and I am in your league,
you're going to get him?
Offer him to me immediately.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Is that it for the AFC?
I think he's going to eat in that offense. On the AFC, sure. You want to do the NFC?
Who's better, the Titans or the Bills? Carnell Tate, Calvin Ridley, and Wan'Dale Robinson.
The Titans.
I think the Titans are better.
I would say the Titans.
That's a better trio. I'm going to be done.
Who's the Bills' 3rd in this scenario? I'm going Moore, Shakir, and that's definitely the Titans as better. Yeah.
What about the Steelers? Metcalf and Pittman. I'm not even going to give you the third guy because there really isn't a third guy.
Do it. If we go the NFC,
Browns, KC Concepcion, Jerry Jeudy, and Denzel Boston.
I wasn't going to go there
because it's 2 rookies.
Yeah,
they have the potential to be better, but you wouldn't do it now.
And the Bills have the potential to be better too.
The Jets are Garrett Wilson, Omar Cooper, and Adonai Mitchell. Come on, the Jets can't possibly have a better. I mean, Garrett Wilson is just the best of the group. That I would probably say the Jets.
Here's the question. Ask: would you trade the 3 for 3? There's your way to ask this question.
I would do it in a heartbeat. Yeah, the Jets 3. Yeah,
maybe that's just to get Garrett Wilson. Let's do the NFC. Eagles.
Still, yes,
probably.
Devonta Smith and Mekhi Lemon and Dontavian Wicks.
Probably. Cowboys definitely.
Commanders. No. Wouldn't do it. Would not do it with the Commanders. What if they got Ayuk? Still no?
Still no. Can't count on it.
Diggs is talking about going there too because he's obviously from Maryland.
Commanders?
Yeah.
Be a nice fit for him. Giants, you can't say yes because neighbors can't walk.
No, I wouldn't say the Giants.
Bears?
The Giants, Harbaugh, all the Ravens fans are like, see, it wasn't our fault that we got all those old receivers all the time.
Yeah,
because Harbaugh got to the Giants, and since they've signed Darnell Mooney, Juju Smith-Schuster, Odell Beckham Jr., Braxton Berrios, and there's another one somewhere. A lot of old guys.
Bears versus Bills.
Bears.
Probably Bears. Yeah.
Bears.
I mean, the Bears willingly kind of said goodbye to the guy you had.
Because he was the 3rd guy.
Maybe.
The guy that the Bears were planning on being their number 3 is now the Bills' number 1. They weren't even planning on that because they're probably going to get rid of him.
I might want to push pause on the Bears, but the Luther Burden hype is off the charts.
Although I will say Dunze's got the foot thing.
He does. That doesn't have to be a problem.
Could be, though.
Packers. Reed, Watson.
Golden.
Close,
but I'd say
Vikings.
Packers.
I don't really want to move on Packers. I don't need it.
Vikings just because of Jefferson.
And
then Addison and Jennings.
Sure. Jawan Jennings is good. Lions. St. Brown.
Lions.
Jameson Williams.
Isaac Tesla. Doesn't matter. The first 2 is the reason.
Panthers. Tet McMillan and who they just drafted this year.
Chris Brazzell. They just signed Jalen Coker. I might go Bills there.
Bucks, Egbuka, Godwin.
And Jalen McMillan. I might go Bills there too. Egbuka slowed down at the end, and Godwin is maybe broken. I might go Bills.
Falcons.
Drake London and company. Would you rather just have Drake London or the Bills guys? I might say the Bills.
Who else does Atlanta have?
They're listed starters right now on an unofficial depth chart are Jahan Dotson and Olamide Zacchaeus.
Okay,
I think you go Bills.
I mean, Zacchaeus has put up numbers.
They did draft Zachariah Branch in the third round.
Yeah, I don't want to fight about it. Like, there's definitely what I'm doing here is like, who's definitely better, definitely not better. I don't want to fight about it.
The Rams are better.
Yeah, the Saints are better. The Rams are better.
The Seahawks are better.
The Seahawks are. You got JSN.
Are the Niners better?
No, not yet.
Mike Evans, Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk.
I forgot about Mike Evans and Dijon Stribling, and then Arizona, and I don't want to fight about it.
Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson. Those ones are probably close. They're probably middle. They're probably like middle of the pack.
Yeah,
right.
That's probably right. With the potential to look pretty good, but the number 3 is the big thing. Like if your number 2 is I'll ask it this way: is my number 2 a full route tree Shakir or just a screen game Shakir? Because if it's just screen game Shakir and the lowest ADOT in the league, I just don't think I can really treat that like it's some asset that other teams would only dream of having. Like Shakir, I do think has more in there. The way they use him is like a running back, the way they used him last year. They throw to him like a running back.
They do. I guess I am always questioning whether he has more in there because wouldn't they use it then? They needed it. For 2 years, they needed all the other stuff, and they didn't ask him to do it. So shouldn't that tell you he can't?
I think I've seen him do it. But they got
This doesn't happen that often.
They had no one to take attention away from him, and they had to find ways to get him the ball because they were so lacking on the outside.
I think that even if he isn't giving you that extra stuff, there is still value in him. Like, there are players around the league that play that type of... Parker Washington was a little bit of that in Jacksonville, wasn't he? Like, there are yak guys around the league that provide value to an offense. I think, though, sure, if there was another level of Shakir doing all the other stuff, then I would think a lot more highly of the Bills receiving core.
How much
better?
better...
I think if you're number 2 guy... As long as you're not your number 1 guy. I think if your number 1 guy is a receiver like that, you've got a problem. But if your number 2 or number 3 is a yak king that doesn't do a lot else, I think that can be okay.
Yeah. How about we kind of buzzed right by the Ravens.
Bills.
Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Devontae Walker. They do have Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt. They drafted 2 rookies.
I'd take Bills.
Yeah. I like Flowers a lot. Flowers on another team would have put up, I think, really, really big numbers. But anyway, 803-0550. I've just come across a Sean McDermott. I've been gifted. Thank you. The station donated this. An autographed Sean McDermott football.
All right.
To add into my my raffle for the 100 holes of golf. So I'm playing 100 holes in 9 days, but in 2 days we're going to be at Wayland. Are you watching on the stream? You are? Screenshot the top left corner. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's my Venmo.
How close do we think he's pointing to the actual thing right now?
I'm trying. It's my Venmo. $25 gets you a ticket into all the drawings. It's a Josh Allen signed helmet. That's a Sabres team signed stick. Now a Sean McDermott signed football. I think a McDermott football is a nice thing to have. Like,
yeah.
Even if you thought he should be fired, like, that's a coach who was really good and ended the drought and won 5 division titles and, like, you know. So here it is.
He's
a Sean McDermott signed football.
I mean, where does he rank all time in Buffalo coaches? He's high.
2 at lowest.
He's 2 for the Bills.
Yeah. So there you go. This will be in the drawing. $25. We've only sold like 200 tickets. So like, here's your odds. If you hey, what are the chances I really win that Josh Allen signed helmet?
Better than getting Masters tickets.
Yes. Much better than getting Masters tickets. So my Venmo in the corner. My Venmo is Jeremy White 3. Or go to my pinned tweet. It'll take you right to my donation page at Roswell. Nate and I are forming together here, so he's tweeting out the same link as me. So if you want to donate to Nate instead of me, it's the same link. We're going to split all of it and play 100 holes coming up in 9 days. I'm also playing on my birthday. What should I do on the 47th hole, the day I turn 47?
Hit a hole in one.
I got to do the math on where the 47th hole will be. I think I can do that.
You will want to.
Let's see if I can pull that up.
Something special.
Will someone donate $47 if I par the 47th hole? What can we do? Donate, please, if you can. It supports the Luca Kalani Foundation and Roswell Park and Camp Good Days and Courage of Carly Fund. We've done all these funds kind of, together. We pool the money. It helps kids in this area. So if you can donate, thanks very much. It'd be a great birthday gift. But the 47th hole, let me see if I can find what that
47
would be.
if you par it and double it if you birdie it.
Yeah. Just do the math for me here. The 47th hole is we're going to play a full 27.
It's the ninth or 11th hole of your third run, I think.
Okay.
Your
But
third
I
run
can't do it that way, though, because
you might not start
what I'm teeing off from. I'm looking at the schedule, and in the 28th hole I play will be the 5th hole at Wanaka. So now I'm going to need a pen and a paper.
What's the hole you're starting at? Do you know the hole you're starting?
Well, again, we're running a full 27.
Yeah.
And the next 27, I start on the 5th. So
that's you need.
This
a pen.
is what I
need.
need.
You need a pen.
I need AI for this. This is what I need AI for. Have AC Man in the chat do it. He does all this work for us.
Here, what do we need?
I need the 47th hole. So it's like 20 holes later. So
the 47th hole.
It's going to be like maybe this. Yeah, the 47th hole.
When you start.
On the 5th.
On the 5th hole.
I'm looking for the 20th hole now because, again, the first round is 27. Boy, we have lost everyone here. We could have done this in a break. Are we in a break? We're not?
I think Joe might have just hit the button like 10 minutes
ago.
and
Let's get
didn't
to
tell
a
us.
break. And I don't even know what we're going to do. If you donate, we'll stop talking about it. There you go. There's a threat.
You donate or we'll keep doing math.
You donate $25 or I'm going to keep talking about what hole. 47th.
I think it's the AI is telling you it's going to be like the 15th hole. On 15 will be your 47th hole.
I don't think that's right.
Well, I tried.
Because 45, it'll be the second.
We'll figure it out in the break.
45. It'll be number 6. There you go. I did it. Number 6. Because it'll be 18 off at number 5, and that gets us to 45, and then 5 again
Just
is 46.
For Joe to at this point, like that's kind of how I feel that it sounds about the two.
I think Larkin definitely will. Definitely will.
Yeah.
And which one of the two is more likely for the Sabres to land if both were open to coming here? Like, who would you take? Who would Yarmo want? Hellebuck?
I don't know.
Who's tighter with Tage? Which Team USA teammate of Tage Thompson?
Not having a single rumor about them connected to anybody kind of leaves you in the dark on what they are prioritizing.
Yeah.
What would they prefer? Star goalie or number 1 center? Not just star goalie, like the goalie in the league that you could acquire. I don't know. Like, honestly, I have no idea. I don't know what Kekalainen thinks of Luukkonen. That's really the starting point, right? Like, if he believes in him as a number 1, despite the playoffs, then he probably thinks, what do I need Hellebuck for? And Larkin, you would want no matter what if you're a team, I think. Like, you can plug him in to even a very strong forward group, and he'll make you better. So, like, I think there would definitely be some level of wanting Larkin, whereas Hellebuck, I feel like it could be he either loves the idea or he just would have zero interest in it at all. I don't think anybody could have zero interest in Larkin if he was on your list.
No, I wouldn't think so either. Yeah. I can remember a tie. I remember the most random tie ever. I remember the Sabres tied a game against Nashville in maybe 2004 where Chris Gratton scored late. And that's a time where if you tied a game late, you felt like, oh, that's a good tie.
Yeah.
Whereas if you gave up that goal late, oh, that's a bad tie. Same as, how it works in the NHL where you score late or give up a goal late. Gratton had a deflection on a puck and it went in like, oh, okay, it was a tie. Good. Nice work. But I don't want it ever coming back. If it were to come back, I think you could get there. I think you could get there where this would be your 3-2-1 system where you still play overtime, and if somebody wins in overtime, they get a point, and you still have your overtime loser point. But if no one scores, call it a tie and don't go to a shootout. That's, to me...
Yeah, that would force teams to go for it.
You'd have nothing to lose. You'd have
Right.
absolutely nothing to lose. You wouldn't play for the shootout. It's, hey, there's 5 minutes here. We're playing for the bonus point.
Yeah.
If we don't get it, each team still gets one.
Right.
To me, the number one mission throughout this entire discussion, whenever we're talking about the NHL's version of this, is I've got to make sure at the end of the game I have a good product. And that means no one is protecting the 1-1 score or 4-4, whatever the score ends up being at that time. So I think you could still do a 3-2-1 scoring system and have overtime winners and also still ties. You just wouldn't.
But it would just have to come at the end of overtime, not at the end of regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
At the end of overtime, and you would just say the shootout doesn't need to stay.
Right.
And
I might be okay with that.
I think I would too.
I don't need the shootout anymore.
I don't need the shootout either.
It's not the worst thing in the world. Like, it can be exciting, but it just always... Well, I liked it when I was a kid, but now it just feels so gimmicky to me.
Notice a rise in your heating bills or a rattle in your ducts? Well, Belknap Heating and Cooling. They are a sponsor of our WGR video stream. And With 0% financing, the cost of upgrading to a high-efficiency dual-fuel heating system is a breeze. Learn more at belknapheating.com. That's belknapheating.com. Go green, save energy and money with Belknap. Schedule a free estimate on your new installation. Give Belknap a ring at 688-1728 for more comfort and less ka-ching. Give Belknap a ring.